One.
Hey everybody, welcome to our world of darkness. This session's going to be a little special because we get to introduce one of our players who has not been here for a little bit. Nate, say hi to everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Now, you are all as new to this as Nate is, because I have told him almost nothing. So this should be good. Nate, your character is Nick Santos.
Yes.
You have retired from the U.S. Air Force. At one point during your training, you were out and about in Vermont. And this tiny little, well, not tiny, this medium-sized town sort of caught your interest. And you decided, one day when I retire, that's the place I want to retire to. It's quiet, it's out of the way, it's right on the edge of this big lake. And so you found yourself in Burlington, Vermont. You have opened a gun store. And one day, one of your buddies comes to visit you, and he really wants to go out fishing on the lake. So you guys take the time, rent a boat, you head out on the lake to fish. Do you know how to fish, Nick?
Fishing's not that difficult, so yes.
Okay. So, you know basically what you're doing. You guys go ahead and head out on the boat, and you start fishing. You don't catch a lot, but we all know that's not really the point of fishing.
Yeah.
So, the day is winding down, and you guys decide to start heading back into port. The only weird thing, you haven't spent a ton of time out on the water, so maybe this is how it normally goes, but you feel like normally you're not supposed to be able to get lost while you're out on the lake, right? Like, it should be pretty clear what direction...
Lake's not that big.
But you have found yourselves lost. You do not know where you're going. No matter what direction you sail in, it doesn't seem to get you any closer to the edge of the lake. And the sun is setting. As the sun is setting, coming up over the horizon, almost sneaking up on you, is an island. You don't remember seeing this island when you came out? Mm-hmm. You also don't remember seeing an island with strange sculptures and what look like ancient ruins, like an ancient Greek ruin, on them. But it's the only speck of land in sight, and the sun is setting. Mm-hmm. So you guys decide it's better than nothing, and you go ahead and you pull in to the up on the beach, anchor the boat, hop out onto dry land. Nick, what are you going to do on this mysterious island?
First I want to try to get a sense of how big the island is.
Okay.
And what's available for resources.
It's not huge. It's maybe half a mile across.
Okay.
Where you are, it's very rugged terrain. Lots of pine trees, a few oak trees. The beach is not like a nice sandy beach. It's like a pebbled beach.
Rocky, yeah.
Yeah. It's getting colder. And the only thing of note that you really find as you do a quick around the island, there are these really weird ruins of some sort of ancient buildings. Think like white marble, ancient Greek type stuff on this island.
Okay. Right. What time of year is it?
It's August.
Okay, that's not too bad. Okay. And I got my friend with me.
Mm-hmm.
So at least we're not alone.
Yeah.
Alrighty. I don't have anything to cut the wood with.
You do notice that the tide is going to come in soon, so anything that you want to get off the boat to use for the night, you probably want to get it off now, otherwise you'll have to wade out into the water.
Yeah. Okay. So yes, I am going to take all my gear out of the boat. I'm going to bring it closer to inland.
Okay.
I assume the ruins are in the middle.
So they're actually kind of spread out right where you guys are on the beach, like just up off the beach.
Yeah.
There's this sort of, it looks like an amphitheater of some sort, maybe.
Uh-huh.
And then there's some other ruins that have just been dotted across the island.
Okay, gotcha. Alright. I'm going to see if one of these ruins has like a structure type, protect from the elements.
Okay.
Like kind of like a house type thing.
Roll me composure plus wits. So that's 2 attributes instead of an attribute and a skill.
Alright, so wits is 2.
Mm-hmm.
Composure, where's that?
It should be on the right side, bottom of your attributes. Still in the attributes section up at the top, but on the right side.
Additions, wisdom.
Above health.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, so wits, composure.
Mm-hmm.
So that'd be 5.
All right, so roll me 5d10.
It's 5, 5, 2, 1, 1.
Okay, that is no successes, so that is a failure. It is your option. If you would like, you can turn that failure into a critical failure and gain a beat.
What does that do?
So for every 5 beats that you get 1 experience point. And you can spend experience points to upgrade your stats, buy new merits, all sorts of different stuff.
Okay.
So it's up to you. You do not have to turn it into a critical failure, but you may.
August, got weather coming in. Impossible. County. Let's not go critical just yet.
Okay. So you do not find... None of the ruins seem to be substantial enough or have enough left that they really provide much shelter. Mm-hmm. That's not to say you couldn't turn one of them into a shelter, but as is, none of them are really a good option.
That was my next thought. Okay. So I will try to find one that's like a good size, like solid wall.
Mm-hmm.
And like maybe I can lean stuff against it to provide a little bit more shelter. Depending on which way the wind is coming in and like the tides and all that stuff, I want to be on the opposite of that.
Okay.
The wall will protect me from most elements if I can.
Make me an intelligence survival roll.
Okay.
Now, you should notice you do not have any points in survival.
Okay.
Because survival is a physical skill, and you do not have any points in it, you get -1 die to this roll.
Okay. So that would only be 2 dice.
Yep.
That is a 9 and a 3.
All right. That is 1 success, which is all you need. So you are able to, gathering some of the supplies around, you like cut down a couple limbs off of one of the trees. You have a tarp that you've pulled out of the boat. You are able to set up this sort of shelter and sort of a lean-to against one of the walls that should provide you pretty good cover for the night.
Okay. Did we catch some fish? No fish?
Ooh, that's a great question.
I know it was like not a lot, or it wasn't very productive.
Evens or odds?
Odds for being in favor.
You did catch some fish. You have 3 fish.
That'll do.
All right.
Alrighty. I will attempt to start a fire.
All right.
Yes.
Lucky for you, it's actually pretty easy. Fire making is the basic skill that you've had to learn. So you get a fire going. You get some of the fish set up, cooking over that. And while you guys are unexpectedly camping out on this island, the sun is slowly setting. And as it does, you begin to feel uncomfortable.
Like physically, mentally?
Yes. Nick, are you a superstitious person?
Ooh. Ooh. I'm gonna say no.
No? Okay.
Yeah.
You're feeling uncomfortable, but you're also trapped on an island with these weird ruins in the middle of a lake. that you shouldn't have been able to get lost on, you kind of expect that you're going to feel uncomfortable.
I'm not going to say he's not aware of superstitions and the stories and stuff, but for the most part, he's not.
Yeah, you're like, that's not, it's just superstition. Most of it's not.
Yeah.
So you settle in for the night and try and get as much sleep as you can.
Yeah.
Even though the sun has set and you can see the stars out, there is this strange sort of ambience across the entire island. It's almost like the white marble of these ruins let off a subtle glow. Just enough to make it hard for you to go to sleep.
I could get my friend to knock me out.
You could?
Okay. Ooh. Has the rain picked up or anything like that?
No. Skies are clear.
Sounds clear? Okay. Oh yeah, stars. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Just between us, my friend's name is Bob.
All right, so, Bob it is.
Yes. Bob the Rock. No. It's pretty much like everywhere. Just
yeah, like you try once you realize like it's too bright. It's too bright right here. You like cool. You walk off to a part of the island where there don't seem to be ruins, but there's still like it's you can't pin down where it comes from, and it doesn't feel like there's light. But every time you try and close your eyes and fall asleep, it is just enough to keep you from being able to fall asleep.
Oof, that's tough. Okay. I guess I'm gonna go exploring.
All right.
And see if I can find what is causing this light. Also, wait, you said I didn't see any ruins like still structured.
No, not well enough to
to
use as shelter or anything.
Okay. I'm also going to be looking for anything that leads underground, like underground stairs.
Okay.
Or something like that, or a ramp or something.
So you decide to explore the island in your sleep. Now, the question is, do you bring Bob with you?
Is Bob asleep?
Yeah, Bob is asleep.
I will let him be, because in the morning, he might need to do work while I sleep.
Okay.
So.
You start exploring the island. It's a little weird, because from a distance, and like as you'd been on the island, you assume that these were some sort of, like, they look like Greek ruins, and obviously you're not in Greece, but you're like, I don't know, maybe somebody made like some weird mock-up or something. But as you explore these ruins, you start to notice little inconsistencies.
Okay.
Like, they look like Greek ruins, but they have what look like hieroglyphics in them. Or like this weird mismatch of like, that's not quite right, or some like pieces of them don't seem to fit. It's almost like it's this hodgepodge of like,
it's like a
weird
temple
stuff
in Antarctica.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's this weird, you're like, this isn't how this is supposed to work.
Yeah.
In the amphitheater, right by the beach where you first arrived, you do find there is a small door that leads underneath, and there is, sure enough, a rough-hewn staircase that leads down.
Okay. Is the door locked?
Nope.
Ooh. Yeah, I open the door.
All right.
Is it dark, or is it like lit up, or?
It's lit up most of the way.
Most of the way? Okay. What would Nick do? What would Nick do? Not what would Nate do? Okay, seeing this, I will go back and get Bob.
Bob is not there.
Figures. I figured he would be disappeared. Okay, is the fire still there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I am going to grab a log with fire, use it as a torch.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm going to grab it like as a torch,
Mm-hmm.
and it's gonna be like a good amount, so I can
Yeah.
like if I have to, I can like swing it around,
Sure.
stuff like that. Um. So as I'm going back to the stairs, I am calling out for Bob, just because
Okay.
like Bob, where are you?
Mm-hmm. You don't hear anything other than your own voice echoing off the stone.
Yeah. Alrighty. After I'm pretty sure he's nowhere on the island, I will proceed down the stairs.
All right. As you head down the stairs, it gets darker and darker. That ambient light slowly fades until it's just by torchlight that you can see. You reach the bottom of the stairs and find maybe what looks like a natural tunnel or some sort of... It feels organic and natural, not like man-made or like carved out of the stone. And it twists off around a corner so that you can't see any further. Do you continue? I want you to know you're still on camera, Keith.
Am I?
Yeah.
Dang it.
It's okay.
It was funny. Little guy walks by and come back to lead. Sure, I'm at this point. Might as well go on.
All right. You push on into the darkness. It goes on for what feels like eternity. But it's hard to,
It's hard to
you're in the
gauge.
dark, you're
Yes.
underground. It's hard to gauge the passage of time. The only thing that really tells you that you're actually even making progress is that ever so slowly that ambient light seems to begin to fill the tunnel again.
Okay.
And as you come around the last bend in the tunnel, it opens up into this underground cavern. You can hear the sound of rushing water, and as you look around, you can see small waterfalls cascading down the sides of this cavern you're in. You are entering, like, on the side of the cavern. There's a small path carved out of the side that leads down to the bottom. In the bottom, there's a pool of water, and rising up out of the center of this pool of water is this giant pillar of crystal.
Ooh, pretty.
It has vines wrapped around it. There's pieces of glittery silver metal embedded in certain portions of it.
Mm-hmm.
And this seems to be what's giving off that ambient light. There's this faint glow, and you see almost like silver mist rising off of it.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do?
Is the pillar actually holding something up, or is it just in the middle with nothing on top?
So as you look up to the top, it rises up and comes to a point not quite touching the top of this cavern.
Okay. And the opening that I walked through to get to the cavern, is that the only opening I see?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm just thinking, if there were multiple, I could get lost, which would be bad.
And there is a path that leads down to the bottom, and it seems like there's some, like, stones. It's almost weird. They're like stepping stones
Yes.
across the water to the central pillar.
What's the worst that could happen?
As you head down the path, you start to notice... You didn't see him before, but now that you're up close, you see that there are these thorny, like, vines almost that are spread out across some of the rocks. They cross your path in a few places.
Do they move?
Not that you can tell. But sometimes, when you look away and look back, it seems like they've moved.
Are the vines dry or wet?
Wet.
Or
Very wet.
very wet. Okay. So much for that idea. Okay. I'm gonna go back to the stone stairs that was
Mhm.
leading down from the entrance, and somewhat safe place to be. And I'm gonna pick up a rock and try to hit one of the vines just to see if it moves.
Okay. So as you turn around and head back up the path, you never get to that opening in the rock. Like, you can still see the ledge where you came in, but as you walk, it feels like the path stretches out longer and longer, and you can never quite get back to where you were.
We're in deep crap now. Okay. Player Nate knows where this is going. I get what you're trying to do here. Let's see. Can I roll for danger sense?
So danger sense, let me double check, but I believe danger sense just gives you the ability to make a roll in case there's an ambush.
Okay.
Let me double check exactly what it does, though.
Okay, I want to roll to see if I get a feeling of, it's not really that bad, but up to, oh shit, what am I doing?
Okay, yeah, no, so you can't. So make me a wits composure roll with a +2. So add 2 dice to the pool.
7. Nice. Okay. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Oh, that is a 9. That's an 8. That's a 10. Another 10. 7, 3, 6.
Okay, those 2 10s,
Yeah.
roll them again.
Okay. Seven and 1.
All right, you have 4 successes. You can sense that this is not... Nothing in here is dangerous. There's no impending danger. There's nothing... You feel safe, but you also feel like you're right on the edge of something. Mm-hmm. It's that feeling where you're in the dark, so you can't see all the way, but you know that there's like a drop-off right in front of you.
Yeah.
It's that feeling. It's not malicious or dangerous, but it is a sense that you're right on the cusp of stepping over into something bigger.
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering if the vines are gonna attack me.
No, you can, like, looking at them, you can see that they all have thorns, but they don't seem to act in any way or feel in any way like they're malicious.
Okay. Okay, well, since I can't go back, gotta move forward towards the pillar.
Alright. You head back down the path.
Pillar comes at me, no problem.
Yeah, you head back down the path, you get there no problem. You find yourself at the stepping stones across the water. If you're going to cross, I need you to make me...
Yeah.
I need dexterity athletics.
Dexterity, okay, and athletics. Oh, nice. So that'd be 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, nice. 7, 8, 9, 10, 3, 4.
Alright, reroll the 10.
1.
Okay. That is 3 successes. The stones are surprisingly slippery, but you are able to sort of leap across them. It's just a little hop, but you are able to keep your footing and you make your way across. The path winds around the side of this pillar, and as you come around the side, you see that on the backside where you couldn't see it, there is this opening in the rocks that leads inside the pillar. It's not like a doorway, it's more like a crevice. Just big enough that you can fit through.
How big is the pillar?
Maybe 100 feet tall.
Okay.
Maybe 70, 80 feet across.
Oh, wow. Okay, it's a lot bigger than I was
Yeah.
imagining. Okay, so it's a really good size. And it's made of crystal? Or it
Yeah,
has
it's
crystal
weird. So like at the
in it?
bottom, it's like this rocky, rough-hewn stone, and then rising out of that is this silver glowing crystal that
Okay.
comes up to a point.
Okay, and there's a little crevice.
Yeah, so around the back side of the island that you moved onto, essentially, where you couldn't see it from the
Yes.
entrance, there's this crevice. It is just big enough that turning sideways, you could slide through.
Okay, I'm going to put my torch in and try to get a good look down. See if it goes like down, up.
It just goes straight into the pillar.
Can I see the back end?
No.
I guess I have no choice but to go in because I can't go back.
As you push through the crevice, so you turn sideways and you do the little shuffle that as you get through.
The torch is in front of me,
Yep.
so I can see.
As you're moving through, it feels like the crevice narrows and it gets closer and closer to the point where you're pushing past those thorns. And as you do, they are creating small cuts across your skin, leaving in. You can hear small drops of blood falling on the ground as you push your way through.
Okay. As I look ahead, can I see how far these thorns are ahead of me?
They go as far as you can see.
And it's from top to bottom?
Mm-hmm. You can tell that there's no way through without pushing through the thorns.
Just out of curiosity, I'm going to take the torch, see if I can, like, bend the thorns a little bit.
So as you try and interact with them, they start to wrap around the torch. They won't wrap around you, but they will start to wrap around the torch and like pull it against the wall.
That's not very nice. Okay. So I have 8 health. Like,
Uh-huh.
at what point does your health go down?
Your health starts going down when you take damage, which you haven't taken any yet.
It's just a little glaze at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And 8's not a lot. Well, I guess it kind of depends on the system, but okay. Okay. I'm gonna try and break the torch free from the wall, from the vines.
Okay, you're able to pull it off.
Okay. And before it gets, completely stuck and I'm in the dark. I'm guessing the fire has no effect on the thorns.
No.
Yeah. Moving on.
All right. You keep pushing through. The thorns dig deeper and deeper into you until you come to a point where you can see the end of this crevice.
Yeah.
You can see on the other side, you can see walls made of that crystal. But in order to get there, you will have to push through the thickest part of these brambles. So my question for you, Nick, is, 1, do you push through? And secondly, what do you summon up, or what do you think of to give you the courage to push through those thorns?
Get through the pain. Oof, that's a tough one. Okay. Fire has no effect. If I try to dull the thorns, they take my torch. You know what? It's like a band-aid. Just gotta get through it.
All right.
I really have nothing else that could. Trying to think if there's anything on me that I could use. So the only thing I might possibly have on me is a Leatherman, but I don't think that's going to be much use at this point. Yeah, we'll push through it.
All right. As you push through this last patch of the brambles, the thorns pull and tug at you, and they pull deeper than your flesh, deeper than your bone.
Oof.
You feel them almost rip into your very identity, who you are as a person.
So it's more like a psychological thing with the pain?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But as you push through, you emerge on the other side of these brambles. You are standing in the center of the pillar. There is a crystal staircase that winds its way up, and you can look up and see at the top of the pillar there is a platform that staircase leads to. Now that you are in the pillar, you feel all anxiety, all pain wash away from you.
Okay. And that's the only thing that's inside?
Yep.
Just there's nothing
there's
on the floor, nothing?
Nope.
Okay. And it's lit up with a dim light?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm assuming I don't see anybody around.
Nope.
Yeah, it's gonna be a bit of a workout, but we'll do the stairs.
All right. As you climb the stairs, in the reflections off the crystal, you start to see things. Different moments from your life, different inflection points, if you will. Moments where choices were made that had long-lasting consequences. Your decision to enlist, your decision to remain, choices that you made in your personal and your professional lives. And as you climb the tower, at each of these moments, you see these reflections and you start to have an epiphany. It's not... It's just knowledge that comes to you. It's like you've always known it but have somehow forgotten.
Yeah.
And you realize that each of those moments that defined you, they pushed you in one direction or the other. But there were an infinite number of ways that those things could have played out.
Mm-hmm.
And you get this sense of how sad it is that you are forced into one of these options. In the infinity of every possible outcome and option, you are only allowed to experience one. And as you climb the tower, that knowledge weighs heavier and heavier on you. But you also start to realize something. You start to realize that that's not the way it was supposed to be. That you should be able to explore all those infinite possibilities, to gain all the knowledge and the wisdom and the experience from each of them. And as you climb the tower, you realize that the thorns that you had passed through were not a barrier. They were necessary. They were a necessary pain to help you realize what you've realized now. That the world is fundamentally flawed.
Mm-hmm.
But you also realize, for you at least, there might be a way around that. As you come to the very top of the tower, you step onto a platform. You are in this... You can see through the crystal now and see that you are at the very top, the pinnacle of this tower.
Mm-hmm.
You see a small pedestal in the center of this platform. And on it is a chisel and a hammer. And now that you are here, you can see thousands, millions of names maybe, carved into the crystal at the top of this tower. And now you get it. Now you understand why you're here. You have a choice to make. If you choose, you can carve your name into this tower and claim your right to have control over your own destiny and the destiny of others. The question is, do you?
Blue pill or red pill?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess the question is, why? Why would I want to? like truly what's at the core that would make me want to go, yes, this should be different. I should be in control.
Is that what Nick is thinking?
That's what he's thinking.
As you think this, you see a reflection shimmer off the crystal. This is different than what you'd seen before. Before, it was just sort of like recollections of your own life, but this is different. This is almost a vision. Mm-hmm. In this vision, you see the most beautiful, amazing city that you've ever seen on an island. It has crystal spires, architecture that is beyond what anyone could possibly imagine.
It seems familiar.
It does. And rising up out of that, you see a ladder made of stars. Huh. It's hard to describe. You know that it's made of that, and you know that it reaches into a higher place, somewhere where magic is. Mm-hmm. And as you watch this vision, you see 11 people climb that ladder. And as they rise out at the top in the heavens, they turn and shatter the ladder behind them. You see that they take the power in the realm they're in and use it to craft a cage around humanity. They cause the city of spires to sink into the waves. And you understand that the life you have led up to this point is a lie. That humanity was meant, you were meant, to have so much more than you do. Mm-hmm. And you feel the hubris of these 11 people who decided to climb to heaven themselves and shatter the way of anyone following them. They chose to bind all the rest of humanity, their mothers, their brothers, friends and lovers, in this lie. This lie that makes you feel small and unloved and unwelcome. Okay. And then you see, in those same heavens where they are, 5 other people. And you see that these 5 people created pathways so that humanity could surpass the limitations that had been artificially placed on them.
So they caged, but there's a way out they have to find.
There are 5 ways that are out. And you can see that the people who created this cage work tirelessly day and night to plug those holes. But no matter how much they try and keep humanity contained, they always find a way out, and they find a way to one of the 5 watchtowers, where you now find yourself. Huh. And you feel a calling that goes beyond just yourself. This isn't just about you getting what you deserve. Mm-hmm. This is a call to action, a call to help break the chains that bind the rest of humanity. Okay. But the choice is up to you.
Of course. Of course it is. See, now I'm thinking, like, why would they not want people to be free? Wow. It's funny, like, as he's going up the stairs in the beginning, it's like, seeing his life, like, did I die? Did I drown or something? I just don't know it yet, and I'm on the path to, higher being. But now it's like, oof, I want this responsibility. The little pedestal on the platform with all the names.
So the names are carved into the wall.
Okay.
All around you. It's just the hammer and the chisel rest on this pedestal in the center.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, first up, I'm going to pick a name at random, see if any information comes about that person, about what they could be.
As you look at the name...
He's kind of testing what's going on.
As you look at the name, you realize that these are the names of other people who have been brought to the same place you are and were given the same choice. And by carving your name into the wall, you accept both the power and the responsibility that the Watchtower offers.
So they accept the responsibility of the Watchtower, but they didn't climb the ladder going up.
No. These are people who, after the cage was created, after the ladder was shattered, found their way to the watchtower and were offered the right and the opportunity to reclaim their birthright and help undo the lie.
But only a select few actually went up the ladder to...
Yep, were only, let's see...
11?
So there are 16 people in total that ascended the ladder. 11 of them went as a group, and they are the ones who shattered it. And at the same time, 5 other people climbed. And you could see from the vision that those 5 people called to the rest of humanity and create pathways for them to escape it.
Yeah. I'm just wondering, like, why, like, so many names on the wall? Like, why would they not all climb the ladder and take control? So, it feels like there's some kind of catch somewhere. But of course, since I'm by myself, I got nobody to talk to. Bob is gone.
Mm-hmm.
Freaking Bob. Ooh, yeah, curiosity's gonna get to him. He's gonna carve his name and go up the ladder.
All right, so there isn't a ladder here. The ladder was in the vision.
Oh.
No, there's just this is just the pinnacle of the tower.
Gotcha.
The ladder was part of the vision.
Gotcha. Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So Nick carves his name into the tower, and as you do, you feel different. You can see what other people can't now.
Puberty?
After carving your name, you turn and see a door that was not there before. And you know that this door will take you back out of the tower, out of the cavern, back to your campsite where you were.
And that's it?
I mean, you could go back down the tower if you really want to.
There's no point in that. Okay. Okay. Before he does anything, he's just going to like imagine the star ladder and where it could possibly lead to. Does anything happen with that?
As you imagine it, again, it's that sense of knowing that just comes to you, and you know that the ladder led to the place where you are right now. Or to something similar. It led to a world of magic. A world where all truth and all the pattern for everything exists.
What I'm getting at is, if he thinks about it hard enough, will it materialize?
So as you try and think about it, the thing that keeps coming back to your mind is the ladder being shattered. And you know that once the ladder was shattered, no one else could climb it. That those who came before and shattered it behind them closed the path, preventing everyone else from following them into heaven.
And there's no way to remake it. That I know of.
Not that you know of.
Yeah. That's what I was trying to see, if he was like mentally, trying to fix it, would that materialize?
No.
Okay, given that nothing happens like that, there's no other clue. I guess he has no choice but go through the door.
Alright, you step through the door and find yourself back at your campsite.
On the island?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Bob is there, snoring heavily. Your fire is but embers now.
Mm-hmm.
And as you step out, if you look behind you, the door is gone.
Mm-hmm.
But you still feel that sense of power, that thrum of energy. And the sun begins to peek up over the horizon.
Okay. Do I feel like it's been like an actual overnight, or is it like a short and abbreviated version?
You're not sure.
Okay. Do I feel tired, rested?
You feel better than you have ever felt before.
Okay, so I don't need to rest, anything like that. Okay, I'm gonna wait for the sun to come up and get Bob up.
All right. Sun comes up. You get Bob up. You guys have a small breakfast of fish, since that's all you have.
Yep.
I assume you head back down to take the boat out.
Yeah. I mean, based on the sunrise, I assume I know where east is.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, we'll take the boat out and try to make our way home.
So as you step onto the beach, there is this wave of unease that hits you. And as you look out towards the boat in the water, you see something just beneath the surface of the water. Like a massive tentacle or some sort of slimy matter that is just beneath the surface. And as you and Bob step out onto the beach, something comes up out of the water. I want you to imagine the most horrifying, mutated, twisted creature you can. Like, imagine something that should not exist. And now I want you to increase that 100-fold. And that is the thing that pulls itself out of the water and up onto the beach in front of you.
Oh, wow. Does it destroy a boat?
No, it just pulls itself up onto the beach in between you and the boat.
Oh, Bob and I are backing up onto the land.
As you do, you sort of look over your shoulder and you see huge tentacles weaving their way through the ruins and the grass and the rocks behind you, slowly encircling you.
Nowadays. Okay. I am going to look for the stairway going down again, just to not
It's
be.
not there.
Yeah. Oh, Bob, we're dead. I'm gonna try to get into. We're gonna try and run as far as we can, like into the center, and then if the tingles are still coming, we're gonna keep going towards the other side of the island.
Okay. As you turn to run, it feels like time slows, and you see almost in slow motion as this thing that came out of the water, with lightning speed, launches itself at you and Bob. And at the same time, you feel power course through you. You have the opportunity to rewrite reality however you want to stop this thing. My question for you is, how do you stop it?
Yeah. Polymorph.
All right. As this thing reaches out, faster than you can think, you feel it sink its claws into your bicep. But at the same time, you draw on this well of energy inside of you, and you change it. You morph it into something else. What do you morph it into?
It is going to change into a harmless little tiny bunny.
As this thing morphs and changes into a harmless little tiny bunny, it drops onto the beach, seemingly defeated, maybe dead. You can still feel the 3 points of contact where it dug its body into your arm. But as it drops, you hear a sound. You don't know how to describe this sound. It is ear-splitting, mind-numbing, and you see this mass of tentacles rise up out of the water. And while you feel trapped in molasses, it spreads out across the island and drags it down under the water with you still on it.
The island?
Mm-hmm. The whole island. And as the water rushes up, as this island is being dragged down, you black out. You come to with the smell of sand and water gently lapping up against your face. As you open your eyes, you are lying face down, washed up, on a beach. As you lift your head, you recognize you're back in Burlington somehow. Bob is nowhere to be seen.
Poor Bob.
And you feel exhausted and drained, but you still feel that little kernel of power that you've been feeling ever since you carved your name into the watchtower. And as you look up, a man, it's nighttime again, and a man steps towards you on the beach. He is heavier built, a little rotund, black hair, and he comes over to you, and he offers you a hand. He says, well, you look like you've had one hell of a time.
I will take his hand to stand up.
So he'll pick you up, and he'll be like, you can call me Alpheus.
Alpheus?
Alpheus. I think we have a lot to talk about. Care to join me for dinner?
You paying?
Of course.
I could eat.
He leads you off towards the nearest Burger King.
Burger King!
And that is where we will fade out on your story for the moment. If you will please go back upstairs and bring me down everybody else.
Alrighty.
But not you yet. You stay up there once you send them down. Take your stuff with you.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, I'm not dead yet. Sure.
Nice of you to join us again, Keith.
Get out of here. You won't need it.
I will separate myself from Natalie so that we will not jibber jabber.
Jabberjaw.
Jibber
No
jab.
respect. No respect.
I remember that show. Where do we want to put snacks?
In the middle.
I think.
In-
Well,
Within clear distance of it.
what is that?
What is what?
What is what?
That's
Oh, is that supposed to be a
computer.
bullet?
It's just holding 3D times. Yes, I'm putting murder all of you.
Did you see that Christmas tree anymore? No. There's like an installation of an artwork where it's just like a green Christmas tree, but it's
Potentially grab a bowl that I can put these in.
Sure.
Thank you.
You know, it would be nice if we edited this part out.
You gotta bring that up with Keith, man. He's the one who has to do the editing.
Where are we
Fair
like?
enough. We're live right now.
Oh yeah, no, we're live. Like,
Alright,
like
well.
Nate and I just had a little prelude. That was the start of the episode, and now I'm having the rest of you join me.
I see.
I see.
Well, I'm gonna.
And if things go sort of according to plan, Nate will come back down and join us here in a little bit.
Shortly.
Go to plan.
You guys haven't met Nate yet.
That's true.
That's correct.
That is true.
Keith, there's been a request that we edit this part out of the recording.
Well, no, I forgot that we were still live.
Can I bring
I figure
leather?
it'd be easier to like put these in a bowl and open this.
I'll see what I can do. You don't have to. I'm just wondering. I'll see what I can do.
What?
Best I can.
I don't know if on your guys' side you can see the cameras.
Yes, we
Yes.
can.
Because Danny's head is just, for a minute, it just perfectly covered everything. It was wonderful.
I'm disappearing.
There we go.
Okay.
Like how sort of
Where I put my. dice back.
collectively.
Oh, you came and took it
for
off
its
the...
sake, Brayden, Daniel loves his dice.
Oh, good.
He was like, "Well, these are cool." Like I knew you'd like the watercolor.
What we're not going to be able to edit out, but that was wonderful, was when Keith had to come down and get his phone, and he tried to, like, crawl along here to not be seen, but he crawled at just the right spot that you could still absolutely see him crawling along. It was fantastic.
I'm definitely not gonna watch that.
Yeah. I was trying to be.
I don't think we can edit out that one.
I was trying to be.
I mean, actually, I guess technically we could if Keith has a way of just blocking out everything that was recorded on that side of the table, but...
Prince needs a Zoom thing with a wife is like, look at the baby. You can just see all of it.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, did everybody remember what their stuff did?
No.
No one asked.
Oh, well, that's their fault then.
I didn't know what we needed to
I left them with the
do.
tools to have the knowledge,
The
but...
Arcana?
No, your merits.
I mean, I kind of, sort of remember some of it.
Okay.
Like, I wasn't totally sure what questions I should have been asking. So
How they work. Again.
Maybe you should have asked the question of I don't know what I'm supposed to be asking. But anyway, that's
I mean,
fine.
I kind of, sort of did.
Yeah. For the Arcana stuff.
But that's
not
what
your
I thought we were
merits.
supposed to be
We
talking
had
about.
to cover
Okay.
what we were allergic to,
Some Christmas.
Christmas.
Stuff that did not pertain.
That's what I'm hearing. All right. Now that the main cast, for the moment, has joined me, and on the hopes that maybe we're going to edit out the little intermission there, welcome to the world of darkness. Does anyone want to give us a recap of what happened last time?
Shenanigans.
So many.
Okay.
So many shenanigans.
So, we were all people.
Go on.
Okay, yeah, off to a strong start.
I list only the facts. And then I forget why we got together, but
We were playing D&D.
we were playing D&D to get to know each other. There was a weird time robbery-esque thing down the neighborhood, and there was like a strange man, and he just appeared. And there was like time weirdness, and we went to like an occult store, and Dwayne the Rock Johnson messed with our memories, and then we were driving, and there was a ninja that signed to me, and
Sign language ninja, that's right.
We
and
did
then
a lot of research on the internet.
we did a lot, and
Too much.
and then we found out that we were Wizard Harry, and we got to a building
Tentacle
that
monster.
in my brain was much like in Left 4 Dead when you reach the safe room and you close the door, and that's what I remember. And there's other worlds, other layers.
Boats, we were trying to follow the boatman out there.
We stopped
assuming
some
that-
ritual.
Yeah,
Yes,
there was
and
a
there was
ritual happening
The
and
water,
people being
there was
kidnapped.
thing.
And with the people that were being kidnapped, like, we're not totally sure how they played into this yet, but in the boathouse there was a weird tentacle monster thing under the water
Yes.
that we were trying to, I guess we were trying to stop the ritual. Shots were fired, literally. And thankfully we didn't shoot Dwayne the Rock Johnson when he came back. We thought we might should, but we resisted the temptation, and they came in to save the day while we drove away in fear and apparently had a fugue state altogether
Yes.
in the car when we got to his studio place.
Safe house-ish thing.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up. So, you have all come back to consciousness. You are all sitting in the car in the Polaris Broadcasting Studio loading dock.
You have my cat, right?
Yeah, everything is
I think
in-
we brought my cat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. You have... Shoot. Of course I would forget their name. You saved the person that you saw get kidnapped. I remember her last name, but I don't remember her first name.
No.
Janet?
Ooh, Janet sounds about right.
Damn it.
Let me see if I
I
can...
told my neighbor to take care of my fish.
Renee. You have rescued Renee Linares.
Wow.
So close.
Janet sounds right.
Renee. You have rescued Renee Linares. She is still passed out. Each of you comes out of your fugue state, still in the car, except now having had sort of an out-of-body experience.
Who's driving? Is that me?
I think. No. It's whoever's car we're in. It's
I knew where we were going.
I believe that this was Ember's car?
Yeah, we're in Ember's car.
Oh, in my black.
Yeah.
What car do you have?
I don't have a car.
No, what's Daniel's car?
The Forerunner?
Yeah, it's a black
Yeah.
4Runner.
Oh.
Because you asked me what kind of car I had, and I was
Yep.
like, it's a 4Runner.
Their thing.
Yes.
Okay.
So how to
I will remind some of you that three of you were together in your weird out-of-body experience. The other two of you were not with anybody else.
So how do we get in to the pointing towards the studio where we're supposed to be hiding?
I mean, you guys are in. You are in the loading dock. The door is closed behind you. You are in Keith's safe space.
Like,
Do you drug dreams? Yeah, just cabbage. That was cabbage. I've never done drugs. Are drug dreams shared?
so
Y'all shared a dream?
You had a dream?
I did.
I'm feeling very Oz right now. You were there, and you were there.
Sorry, man, you weren't there.
No, apparently not.
I wasn't either, at least not with them. I don't know. But everybody kind of had something going on.
Did someone pump gas into the car?
I'm pretty sure that would not excuse y'all all hanging out together in your dream.
Was there like a path, and it was a tower,
Uh-huh.
and they asked you to pick things, and
Yeah.
How did
okay.
you cross the bridge? Or the water?
I feel like that's private because I don't remember.
That's because you didn't cross a bridge.
I didn't. Trick question. I didn't. I remember I spread the weeds. I believe I made my own path. There was like a path. I spread the weeds and I made my own path. And I had an encounter with a sister. I think. Sister. I had an encounter with a sister. And they said that magic was a thing.
Okay, but how cool would it be if magic is a thing? We just played D&D.
That was like yesterday, though.
Was that yesterday?
That was, in fact.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, technically 2 days ago. What time is it?
Oh
right
yeah, no,
now?
2 days. Yeah, because it is. You are now on August 28th because it is.
Okay.
It's like 1
It
a.m.
was that was like 2 days ago. But,
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't have come up with shit like that for a game.
Actually,
That's
technically
why
it
I
was
think we were
yesterday because we were
drugged.
up later than.
Okay.
No, we have
Okay,
seen,
hang on.
Okay,
we
if
have
we were...
seen time. We've seen time stop several times.
I didn't feel anything.
Oh my lord.
No.
Did you just try and magic zap him? What if his head had like exploded?
Well, then I probably would have had to deal with that.
You would have had to deal with it!
You wouldn't have had to deal with nothing. I don't know what
Okay,
you're talking about.
no one point
Okay,
or
I'm
do
sorry.
hand things until we know what the heck. What did you dream? What did you guys dream about?
Hold on. I need a quick recap on
Hallucinations.
names.
Zachary Burns.
Zachary,
Or
Yeah.
Daniel.
Jamal.
Jamal. Okay, and I know you were Piper.
Piper, Ember,
Okay.
Zachary, Jamal,
Zachary,
Dan.
Daniel, Jamal, Piper, Ember. Okay. Sorry.
Well,
Okay.
Jamal, what did you?
What
Brain
drug
aneurysm
dreams did you
about?
have?
as long as we're establishing that this is a drug dream, so it is real out there, and you're not going to judge me by it.
Time has stopped 17 times in the last 2 days.
That is a very valid point. So I don't know how to describe this. I saw the mortal engines. I saw, I think, what might be heaven and angels.
And like wings and
the-
bling bling bling, or
Or like Thousand Eyes biblical shit.
More like that.
Sir? the more, yeah.
Take Thousand Eye Biblical, add some steampunk in for flavor. That's about what you saw.
Yeah, like is it like some gears along with that, some weird, like a big machine.
Well, that's not
that
my heaven.
Was what? They were working the machines that were turning life below.
You sound more high.
I swear I hadn't had anything in a long time.
And you were not there with Jamal.
No.
And what
You weren't there with us, but you were on your own.
was your drug dream?
Well, who said I had a drug dream?
I sure hope you did.
One of these things is not like the other otherwise.
Zach's like, I don't know what you're all talking about. I saw
It was a
nothing.
normal Tuesday night dream for me. I don't know.
Because if you didn't have a drug dream, I'm going to assume you drugged us.
That's true, man in the forest.
Why?
What kind of shrooms did you put in my drink, dude?
Alright, so first of all, y'all have some bigoted opinions on me. You all think I'm just some crazy dude who murders people in the woods.
What?
Well, no,
You have made that assumption since I met you. You have been making that assumption against me.
That has been a thing you have been
I'm
leery of.
pointing at her.
I know, I'm just saying, I like...
Thank you. But no, my weird drug dream was
So it did happen.
walking through a overly beautiful, perfect forest and smearing some blood on a rock.
What?
That was
This does not help.
Okay, it was a drug dream, okay?
Drug
We all
dream.
had drug dreams.
Okay.
I don't think that was a drug dream.
Just 3 of you had the same one.
Wishful thinking.
No,
I think we're beyond wishful
That's
thinking
true.
at this point.
That's-
all went out the same time. We came back about the same time. Something is up. And like you guys were so keen to point out, time has stopped like 52,000. No, there ain't no shit that makes sense anymore.
A ninja in a mirror that nobody else could see.
Okay, hear me out. Everybody freaking out about D&D in the 80s. There was something to it. We have magic
Maybe.
now.
We were at your house, right?
Okay,
Yeah.
Daniel, something is happening.
Did you provide snacks? at
You
D&D?
were-
It would not have lasted two
I provided
days.
some, but so did you. And so did Jamal.
I'm the only one that hasn't given you all anything, and you all are the ones pointing at me. Like I'm some crazed, like, Freddy Krueger from the woods.
Look, hashtag not all men, but which ones? You know, we can't just tell.
Okay, I don't think anybody actually drugged anybody.
All right.
No.
We all agree we
At
did
this
not drug
point,
each
we're
other.
trauma bonded.
Yeah. Something
At this
like
point,
that.
Renee stirs a little bit. She doesn't come back out of, like, she's still
Like,
passed
oh,
out.
oh,
But,
she was there.
Ah, crap.
yeah, you rescued a lady who is still passed out in the backseat.
You
Holy
got
crap.
someplace comfortable we can put her so she's not waking up in a car with a bunch of randos. I mean, she's still gonna wake up in an unfamiliar place with a bunch of randos.
Yeah,
But maybe not a car.
I think there's a green room attached to the studio. We can put her on a couch in there and let her, come to
Yeah,
reasonably comfortably.
let's do that and center ourselves. I'll carry her up
Yeah, I'll
up
help.
to the room, and I will do a first aid check on her, if you would allow.
Yeah.
Which is one of my skills. What would that be under?
That would be under. So have it be intelligence medicine.
Okay. And I get a plus
Yep,
1 for my
your
skill.
specialty.
Okay. That's automatically 2 successes with rerolls.
Oh, I forgot I'm supposed to have a bunch of those.
2 successes.
10-sided dice.
You check her out. She's okay.
Does at least help.
Um,
Do you need more?
you think that the passed out part is probably just
Trauma based.
or just like sensory overload.
Okay.
There's nothing immediately that seems life threatening. She probably is going to need counseling.
We're all gonna need counseling.
Don't we all?
I don't know if
Well,
anybody's
she
qualified to help us anymore.
seems fine. I think she's just gonna be out of it for a little while. Probably the rest of the night, if I were to guess. So.
As you guys are up in this green room, you hear a buzzing sound.
Is
Like
it
what
something
kind?
that I would recognize?
You would.
From
Someone is ringing the door buzzer.
What's that?
someone's at the door.
Why?
I assume there's an intercom.
Yeah, so
That goes
you
along
walk
with
over to the desk where it's coming from, and
Just
there is like a
magnetic and
CCTV
forward.
camera, so you can see there are
Oh,
two people
how are you?
standing at the door. One of them's ringing the thing. There's a little intercom.
Do I recognize either of them?
Certainly not.
What time? As a side note, what time is it right now?
Like 2 a.m.
Oh, shit.
Remind
So
me,
no
do we
one's
have
gonna
weapons?
come waking up for news. We all should.
You all got rid of them, actually.
Yeah.
No.
There was a people threw guns out windows as you were driving, and
Oh no.
I think I had to drop mine just to carry Renee.
so no longer do you have weapons. At least not handguns and shotguns.
So I am paranoid as shit.
Yeah.
I'm,
Oh yeah.
I grab whatever, like a chair.
They just keep pressing it. One of them looks up at the camera, and you feel like he's making eye contact with you.
Can you talk to them through that thing?
yeah, but I didn't want to clue
Acknowledge.
people
Let our
into the fact
presence
that we were
know.
actually here.
Oh, I'm like, what do we pretend that we're the cleaners?
What?
We're the cleaners.
At 2 a.m.
He gon' just like buzz back and be like, housekeeping. No.
Why not? It's 2 a.m. This is my best idea.
Knock, knock, knock.
That's
Housekeeping.
I'm like, who knows Spanish?
No.
No.
I
You
mean,
look at me.
there's nothing on I'm not seeing anything scheduled for this time or
No.
anything like that. It's like, yeah, I got nothing. I got no reason
no.
to.
Let's just not answer.
No.
I assume he just keeps standing there and buzzing.
Well, so after they buzz a few more times, see one of them looks. They talk to the other. Unfortunately, you don't have audio.
Right.
But one of them looks at the other one. He says something to him. The other one just sort of is like, and they walk out of camera view.
Okay.
Good.
I don't like that either.
Yeah, no.
That Psy looked like a man who had decided he's gonna have to do things the hard way.
That's exactly what that's like. That's exactly the look on his face was. Oh, we have to do this the hard way.
Okay.
What's the nearest weapon-looking thing?
There's a stapler.
So we're in a
You are now in the office portion. So where you came in was the loading dock, and they had some stuff set up. There's the green room, and you guys are sort of in the office section of the building.
Is this a Luke? Is this a prolific sort of studio? Well known,
I mean,
established.
it's gonna.
Yeah.
Then they have a fancy metal letter opener.
I was gonna go get a knife.
As Lance, I am just curious what the logic was that this is an established, prolific studio. Therefore, they have a fancy metal letter opener.
Because if I'm just a little rinky-dink thing, I'm just gonna use my finger, rip open stuff. But if I'm a fancy, established,
See, you didn't ask if they were fancy. You asked if they were prolific, as in they produce lots of things.
Well, then they have lots of letters, like bills and people writing in.
Yeah, but they don't have a fancy metal letter opener. They just pay someone minimum wage to open them.
But it's more efficient to do it with a letter opener.
They don't care. They just pay some middle-aged not middle-aged, some minimum wage college kid to come
Fine.
open letters for them.
There's no letter opener.
Not now!
Fine. What about a hole punch?
Yeah, you can find a whole bunch.
Like one of those.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. I use
Just
the.
get somebody's hand. And just
No,
like,
I'm gonna use like a weapon. They're
Blunt
heavy.
force.
I'm gonna go to the kitchen and find a knife.
All they
Alone?
have is the plastic.
Alone?
Have you ever been to? Yeah, I was about to say, have you ever been
An
to
office
the
kitchen.
an office kitchen? Yeah, they don't have real knives. They have plastic
But
knives.
occasionally they have a real knife to use for when people bring things in.
That is true. My office did have.
Evens or odds?
Odds.
No, were they sharp? No.
You find the one knife. It's like a little steak knife, but
I'm like, damn. They don't even have letter openers here.
Do you have a cake server?
Where are you working
Yeah.
at?
I'll grab the cake server. It's a wedge. It'll hurt.
I will hurt. I found a metal spoon.
And of
Tell
course, I,
you, twit'll hurt more.
of course, I left my toolbox in my work truck.
Okay, but.
Oh, there's probably a.
Wait.
In my car. We have my car.
Let me go see if there's let me go see if there's some tools in one of the like tool kits for that they leave around for putting up lights and
Probably a
shit.
tire iron.
I would like to posit that I would usually have maybe like a little thing of mace because I ride everywhere. I'm a lone lady.
Honestly, that makes sense.
okay.
Just like a little, not like
Sure.
a giant, just like a little, you know.
I'm gonna give you the steak
They
knife
sell
and I'm gonna
those.
grab my tire iron.
Okay.
You go root
My whole
around in
bunch
the
of my
maintenance
mace.
closet. They have a full tool set in there. You can get
Alright.
yourself a wrench or something.
Yeah, I'm
What do
gonna
you
grab
mean?
the biggest pipe wrench I can find.
My mace like a gun. It's like, alright.
You know that's gonna get all of us.
What are all the different?
No. I'm pretty good at this.
into
How
this
many
place?
times have you had to mace somebody?
Well, I mean, there's the loading dock we came through that's locked up pretty tight. There's the front door,
That's actually it.
and that's pretty much it.
This building is actually it's on Church Street, so it's like downtown, and it's actually sandwiched in between two other buildings, so there's no like side access.
They're not prolific, so. We're fancy.
Is there a skylight?
Alright, there's 5 of us. There's how many entrances?
Two.
2?
There's
Okay.
2 entrances.
So we can double up. That's 3 ladies at one. You folks in the other.
There's 2
There's 2 ladies. Us 2 ladies on one. And Jamal.
I got your back. For some reason, I don't understand.
I did not mean to misgender you at this table. Alright.
I hit a button wrong.
Go check out Wyvern Warfare.
There you go.
Or should somebody stay with Renee?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, she knows you.
She knows. Yeah, but
I will stay with Renee because I have my little mace, and you actually have a blade.
No, he hasn't. Now I have a tire iron.
You guys have bludgeoning and piercing items, so you guys can go hit or whatever. I will stay with Renee with my mace.
Okay. All right.
I mean that was the right choice, right? To not acknowledge the people outside because
Probably.
Right now,
because there's been a lot of weird shit happening.
Also, if it was someone who worked here, they would have a key or something.
Well, and
Right.
it's 2 a.m. Like
Yeah.
nobody's supposed to be here.
Either.
Nobody recognized those guys, right?
no.
I
I didn't look at the CCTV.
Either they're people that are on our side of things with whatever that weird Black Adam guy was, or they're people that would have hung out with the weird beat folks in the conference room at the bar. So,
Jeans cult.
yeah, the Blue Jean cult. Yeah.
I'm a millennial. I do not open the doors. I never answer the door.
Also that, yeah.
So,
Well,
Like-
they didn't text me first. Not answer.
if they're all magical and shit, I feel like it's only what just happened. Your little thing is having a seizure.
Yeah.
Everything's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine. Everything's fine.
Okay, but what if we're all magical
I mean, maybe we are, but they probably know what the fuck they're doing a whole lot better than we do.
Hey,
But this didn't do
one
anything.
thing at a time.
Yeah.
Right?
Let's wrangle
Okay.
all the cats and
Let's
stuff.
just-
Let's we got.
Cat.
I will stick with Renee and the cat.
I don't think they're gonna be looking for the cat.
You never know.
No, but there's psychos out there.
I'm pretty sure
What if they need it for a blood sacrifice?
they're probably gonna use us first.
You have more blood after all.
I get a shadow name?
That cat's probably the safest person in this building.
It's okay, Pixel.
You and me, front door. You two, back door.
Yeah. You've got
And you've
Cat
I got
unconscious
Renee and the
person.
cat.
Am I the only one that thinks we should also factor in getting some rest?
Oh,
It's been a long day.
we definitely should, but unless you wanna, just sleep while they break in.
No.
There you go.
Guess
Then.
not.
You doing okay, Zach? You're quiet.
I'm
Man, a few words.
just reconciling with everything that's happened in the last
Just
24
questioning
hours.
existence,
Just
that's
questioning
all.
existence for the
How's
last
that
24
going for you?
Not well.
I
Same.
need to go to therapy.
Don't go to therapy. You can find therapy in the bottle of a Jack Daniels bottle. Love you,
That
Gramps.
sounds unhealthy.
About 15
Yeah.
minutes have passed,
Mm-hmm.
and Keith, Daniel notices someone on that camera. You guys are still sort of, you're heading out your directions. You see somebody heading up towards the back door.
Okay.
Not one of the two people that you saw at the front. This guy's kind of rotund, black hair, has a little almost waddle to his step, but he walks up to the back door, not the loading doors, but like the side door that also leads into the loading dock. He looks at the keypad for a second. He goes,
They brought him in to hack the keypad.
and he goes, doop, 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 and you hear that door unlock.
Back door.
And then he opens it and steps in.
Do I recognize him?
No. And this guy just walked up, and on his first guess, he's just like, boop, 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 ding.
Grabbing the wrench and headed that direction. Hello. There's somebody at the back door.
You stay just far enough you can scream if somebody comes in the front door same time. I'm gonna go get him back up in the... Yeah. And so I'm gonna cross
So
over.
I'm gonna head that direction, I guess, and sort of
wait.
peer around into the loading dock from like a doorway or something.
So there's this guy, he's just standing there, he's like looking at the tires in the car, he checks his watch, and he looks up at you, and makes eye contact with you. We're a little behind schedule if you don't mind hurrying this up.
Do I know you?
Not yet.
Is this building small enough that I can hear
What
this?
is, it's like, what is that supposed to mean?
That you will in... Give it a couple hours and you'll know me. So you want to talk about the weird dreams you've been having?
How do you know about that?
I've had them too.
Are you with the other two guys?
What other two guys?
Ah, shit.
The ones that came here first? Did they go and get you?
Nope. Let me make a call. And he pulls out his cell phone, and he is like totally not like he is totally relaxed. He is not. He almost puts you guys at ease with his just totally like, this is a normal Tuesday night. And he pulls out his phone,
Breathe.
presses one of his speed dials. Never picks up on the first ring. Cut my foot there, where am I? Hang on. Hey. You didn't send two other people, did you? Okay, no, I didn't think so. Well, I got in just fine. I don't know what they're doing. I mean, they seem a little spooked. But I feel like that's pretty normal.
What's happening?
Oh, I didn't think about... Okay, yeah, no. Good point. I'll take care of it. Don't worry. I'll call you if we need you.
Me too. What? So are you gonna tell us what's supposed to be happening since you're telling
Well,
us to hurry whenever that's up?
what's supposed to be happening is I'm supposed to take you out of here, and we'll go to a nice, safe place where you can
Watch the
not
flowers.
worry about all sorts of terrible, awful, strange things happening. I'll probably pet your cat for a minute or two, and then we'll talk about what's happened.
I don't know if that makes me feel better or worse.
Are you with the group of folks that was controlling the monster in the lake?
No.
You with the other group of folks?
Sort of?
You know what? At least you're not
It's
calling Cthulhu.
It's a little more complicated than just them or us.
Sounds like it.
God, that's really going to complicate... He kind of looks behind him. He's like, that's going to complicate things a little bit. What do these two guys look like?
I will describe what they look like.
You're like, I don't know, guys.
I don't know. It's like just
bros.
woo.
I guess we are pretty close. Oh, yeah, it's probably Nero. Okay. Well, you guys want to pack up your stuff?
I mean,
We happen to have a lady who was being held
Oh,
hostage.
yeah, we'll bring her with us for the minute.
Okay.
We'll-
I mean, we don't have a.
Could arrange for her to be dropped back off at home.
What role constitutes a vibe check?
Like to vibe check.
I know. That's a good
A
idea.
vibe check is going to be manipulation empathy.
Oh, I do have points in that.
Okay.
And
Can
it
I
will be
hear-
contested.
Can I also do that?
You can.
Is it
Same.
pure silence for me with Brittany, or do I hear like
I'm gonna spend a willpower.
You can hear this. It's not like the building's not that big.
I'm gonna spend a willpower for this because I figure why not.
If my box is black,
Oh. Nope.
If your box is black along the side,
yeah.
that means that it's one of your asset skills.
Which means you get to roll an extra die.
Oh. So I had 2 successes.
5 dice, 0 successes.
4 dice, 0 successes.
2 successes.
I don't remember what it was.
I have an incredibly
8,
high empathy
9.
motives
1
thing,
success.
but I'm not there.
Took off the side and roll on 1 reroll. So 1 success.
1 success.
I'm still.
It's the
freaked
same.
out.
I even spent a willpower on that and I didn't succeed.
Okay. Passes the vibe check. Seems honest. Pretty relaxed. Almost sets you at ease just being around him a little bit.
Yeah, just imagine Breeze. Honestly, probably either he's gonna kill us.
Oh,
or-
no, I won't kill you.
I don't
how
like
you
where you
said
put that
that.
emphasis.
Real unsettling.
I mean,
Are you bringing us to people who will kill us?
no, but like, I know people who would kill you if we needed to, but I am not one of the people who does that.
You're not helping.
I realize.
What's your name?
Call me Alpheus.
That's a stupid name.
Alpheus.
Just
Black Adam, Alpheus.
We're in a comic book. Is that what has happened? We've fallen into
Alfie.
a comic book.
You can think of it that way. It's
Is
not a terrible way to think about it, actually.
Dungeons and Dragons real?
As in, does it exist? Yes, it's a tabletop role-playing game.
Did it give me magic powers?
No.
Damn it.
I feel like if it did, a lot more people would play the game.
Right.
Okay. We know that there were 2 other people looking for us. I feel like this guy is at least kind of on the up and up.
How
I'll
do
grab-
you know the code?
I guessed.
I'll grab Brigade.
I'm really good at guessing. Watch this. He's gonna pull out a coin. Heads or tails?
I don't know. It's gonna land on its freaking edge.
Flips it up in the air. It's gonna land on its edge. And it lands perfectly on its edge. I told you, I'm really good at guessing.
It's magic, Daniel.
It is, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons.
But we're gonna
might
get
not
to
be
that.
Real.
I'm just really good at guessing.
I think we should.
Is this like my superhero initiation?
Again, that is not inaccurate.
If anybody is gonna know, I guess it's gonna be this guy and
Alright.
whoever it is
Are we
he's
still
working
Ember? Or
for.
are we getting cabbage?
Will it be
I think right now we're Natalie.
All right, fine.
Let's get.
I mean, you don't have to come with me. You can stay here.
Are we walking? Are we taking the car? Like, what is the mode of transportation here?
I mean, do you want to take your car?
Do I need to take my car?
You don't need to.
Should I take my car?
Do you
Is it
think
gonna
we'll
get
be-
crushed?
Should you take your car?
be
That's a good...
Recognized by some weird Cthulhu.
I feel like it doesn't matter if you take your car. I would guess that it probably does not matter either way. And I am very good at guessing.
Okay, you know what? We'll just not. Wait, what about Renee?
I got her.
You just like.
Yeah, he just comes out with her.
Oh, I guess I'm following. I'm like, I'm holding the cat.
Okay, so... 5 plus 3. Okay, yep, nope, that's everybody.
You know, I'm not even gonna ask until we get someplace safe. Let's just.
Yeah.
I am
okay.
so tired right now.
Yeah, fine.
So are we taking your car, or are we leaving it here?
I think we're leaving it.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna take my car.
Oh, damn, this was second location. Never go to second location.
Hey, if we're
Okay.
gonna die, I don't have enough sleep to carry.
So he goes over
Fair
and
enough.
opens the back door out of the loading dock and sort of just... After you.
Fine.
What
I
massive
still
vehicle
have this
hat
pipe
does-
wrench over my
Is it a
wrist.
I've still got
car?
this.
Over
Yeah,
over
I've
my
got the cake
shoulder.
server.
Is this another car we're going to?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Here's the thing with cars.
I have shotgun.
A shotgun?
Yeah, I was gonna say, you have a shotgun or you
Either
want a shotgun?
or, if you have one, can I have it? If not, can
I
sit it?
do not have a shotgun. You can sit shotgun if you'd
Just
like.
sit shotgun. The airbags are more obvious on the front.
So he, it's a green minivan.
Oh, jeez.
Huh.
He's like, all right, everybody load in.
I get in the front. Do you take your cat from me, or am I just holding your cat?
No, I take the cab.
Okay.
So as you guys are loading into it, the street light above everything explodes.
Oh,
And you hear him go, damn it.
that doesn't port well.
And he turns around, and you guys see stepping out of the shadows in the back alley area where you are, where the access to the loading dock is the two guys you saw at the front.
It's those two guys.
Those guys.
No.
And he's like, he turns to you guys, he's like, I'll handle it. Don't worry about it. And he turns back to him, steps up, he's like, how's it going, guys? Long time no see. So, what brings you guys out here? And you could tell that the two other guys are not happy about the situation. And they walk up and they start talking to him close together and very privately. And you can see him, like, at first, you know, he's, and then he sort of drops the, like, happy-go-lucky, and they get into a bit of an argument. Not, like, loud. They're still keeping it quiet enough that you can't hear, but you can hear them, like, no, you have to, but I don't want to.
Does one of the other two guys sound like the guy that I talked on the phone with earlier? Okay.
He looks like he knows them. I don't know if I like that.
And Alpheus turns back around and walks over to you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Small change of plans. We're going to have a small detour. It's not a problem, just a minor miscommunication.
You couldn't guess that was going to happen?
I really hope they wouldn't be smart enough to tell.
Is this gonna? Are they with your side? Are they against the lake monster?
Probably.
I don't like
I have
probably.
concerns.
Who are they?
We don't even know who he is.
Yes, you do. I'm Alpheus. And that's Nero and Caius.
I barely know who you are.
So we're gonna have to if you wanna set Renee down, I'll call someone to come pick her up, but we're gonna have to have a little chat with some of their friends before otherwise they'll make it a big whole scene, and we don't want that.
She's been like attacked and kidnapped.
Yeah,
I don't know if I want her just put back.
Well, somebody will take her home.
How do we know that?
Yeah,
She was taken from her.
to her husband.
But if she was taken from there, why would she not be taken by the weird lake monster mob again?
Well, you stopped the weird lake monster mob, didn't you?
Like, permanently?
I mean, for tonight at least.
The blue jean cult is still out there.
I don't want to just set her back someplace.
Okay, look,
to
I will ask someone to keep a watch on her and make sure nothing happens. Does that make you feel any better about it? Because I'd rather not bring her with us.
Now, will
Okay.
you really do that, or are you gonna do that like in Princess Bride when
I will-
Humperdinck was like?
I like that movie a lot. I will make the call right now.
I don't
I'll
know
put
why
it on
I'm
speaker if that
comforted
makes you feel any better.
by the fact that he likes the Princess Bride.
I'm a little bit comforted.
Bad people probably also like the Princess Bride, right?
Do I keep my seatbelt on?
Probably.
or-
It's an excellent film.
I'm so tired.
Can I vibe check as he's doing that to, like, I'll be like, yeah, you do that.
Although,
And then kind of see
So
how I
he'll
feel
pull
about
out his phone again and he'll be like, trying to write a text message. He'll be like, dude, do you want to proofread it? Like, I want you to feel comfortable.
I'll proofread it.
Feeling comfortable left like 10 minutes
That's
ago.
awesome.
I'm feeling comfortable left.
a long
Like,
time
So
ago.
he shows you, and it is a text message
What's
to
comfortable?
a contact named Lorcan.
Oh.
And it just says, ran into a snafu with the wards. Someone needs to come pick up Renee and take her home and watch over them.
So
Can you arrange for that?
They already know Renee. Who she is, enough for this to make sense?
Lorcan?
Mhm.
It had that.
This is
title, I don't like
We're going to circle back around.
And,
to
and then
that,
you get
but I
the three dots, somebody responding, and the response is, damn it. Okay. We'll send someone to pick her up.
Okay. And that's a crap ton of successes. Like, does this feel legit?
Well, also, if there has been some kind of complication and we have to do this third location or whatever, not having the unconscious woman with us is probably a good idea.
Yeah, I feel like
Plus, she's not magic, so, you know, kind of want to keep her out of things.
let's yeah, let's get in.
Does that mean her husband is?
Nope. At least not last time I checked. Which was like
Yeah.
3 hours ago.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a whole heap of questions on that, but we'll circle back to it later.
We said don't
I didn't point at anybody this time.
make a break a window or something.
Yeah. That's
Okay. So you guys wait there, and it's awkward because it's you guys by this minivan, and Alpheus is just sitting there with you. They're standing there with you guys, and then like across the alleyway are these other two, and they've got their arms folded. One of them's like tapping his foot, and they're just glaring at you guys.
Hi.
They don't respond to that.
I
he
just pull
broke
out
the
my-
lock, man. I don't know what you expected.
So I'm just gonna pull out my phone and start playing some mindless game because at this point my brain is just not even engaging with anything right now.
Daniel is Keith. Okay.
I'm now so tired. I'm like, oh, Princess Bride. And I want to like make random little comments about the, just like the
She
quotes
could be
from
over
the
there
movie.
like, anybody want a peanut?
I was gonna say Alpheus will join you.
Oh,
He'll
jeez.
like if you like if you do the like no more rhymes now. I'm in it. He'll be like, anybody want a peanut?
So Alpheus, what kind of magic do you do?
I mean, I do a couple different types, but I'm pretty good with like manipulating probability and luck and that sort of thing.
So you're not good at guessing, you're good at manipulating guesses.
Sure. Potato, tomato.
Have a mess. Death. What was it? Sicilian.
What's your
Death
real
is on the
name?
line.
I'm not gonna tell you that.
But like your parents didn't name you Alpheus.
No.
Because that's a stupid name.
Wow.
I think it's a great name. We'll see how you like it when I don't like your shadow name.
Boo.
We all have to have code names?
We will get to this, okay? It's all part of the brochure. I've got a whole presentation ready.
Brochure?
Yep, I've got a whole presentation ready.
Can my code name mean code names are stupid?
If you really wanted it to, that's kind of a mouthful.
CNS? I'm pretty sure that's probably an acronym for something else.
At this point, a black Lexus pulls into the alleyway.
What'd you do wrong to get a minivan?
Melon.
He's like, there were 5 of you. 6 counting her.
And
I needed room. And so he walks over, has a talk with the guy in the driver's seat for a second, and he opens up one of the back doors. He's like, if you guys want to put Renee in, get her all settled.
What's your name, Malfeasance?
He gives you a name that I don't know off the top of my head because I didn't come up with a name for this guy yet.
Sounds about right.
Yep.
Yep.
Well,
Make
luck,
sure that
Renee.
she's tucked in safely with them.
Yeah.
And he'll close the door, and the Lexus pulls out, and he looks over at the other two. He says, all right, now we can go talk. He says, all right, come on, guys. They're going to want to have a little discussion with us. Politics.
Can we get a nap first? Or...
It's called a long rest.
So they lead you guys, and like those two, like one of them's at the front, and then one of them comes up from behind to make sure none of you leave. And they take you guys 2 blocks down the road, and you get a little nervous at first because you're heading right towards that Ree-Raw Irish pub. Except like 2 buildings before that, they take you into a building called the Whiskey Room.
I don't drink.
I don't think
Pretty
we're
sure
here to
that's
drink.
not why we're here. And yeah, you don't have to.
I just think if we're gonna drink anything, it's gonna be Kool-Aid at this point.
But they do take you through a side door as opposed to the main door, so they take you directly into like a little back room area.
We're going to get murdered right now. This feels like a murder walk.
And this tall, skinny, blonde guy called Nero was like, once you guys are in, he's like, all right, sit down. Whoever you are.
You're gonna
Whoever
talk to
we
us
are.
like we are children who have done something wrong?
Yeah.
For what purpose?
So at this point, Alpheus steps up. He's like, he's a little grumpy, okay? It's that he
So I
doesn't
see.
understand what's happening. You guys were in his turf. It's a whole thing.
Neither do we, but you don't see us being
We don't
a
even
little...
know who the fuck you are to know it's your
Are we in a
turf.
gang war?
I guess.
He just glares at you and then steps out of the room.
I was about to be like, I got something in my pocket for you.
So as soon as those two step out of the room, but first one of them noticeably like bars the back door that you came through.
Not menacing
But when
at
they
all.
step out of the room, Alpheus looks at you guys. He's like, okay, let me do the talking. I know these guys, kind of. They don't know what's going on like we do. So I'm going to try and smooth things over with them so then we can get going and I can give you my lovely presentation I've prepared, okay?
I knew I should have just joined the crochet group on Facebook.
To be fair, I've played D&D a lot. It has never gone this way before.
I didn't think this is what it would be like.
It's usually
It's
not.
not.
I have nothing to say otherwise.
We have nothing to compare it to.
Compare it to.
After about 5 minutes, the door to this room opens again, and in comes a different person. Tall, muscular, like spiked hair,
What's your name?
but not like anime or like punk spiked, just like tastefully a little flair to it. And he steps in and just sort of steps to the side and crosses his arms, and behind him comes in this short woman. She's like 5 foot tall. She has on like a black leather jacket, but she's also in a dress with high heels on. She steps into the room and they close the door behind her.
We're in the freaking middle of Virginia. Why is she dressed that way? At 2 a.m. in the morning.
Vermont fancier than Virginia.
Wherever
And
we
she
are.
steps in and says, "So, Alpheus, who are your new friends?"
No, Alpheus, who are you? Nope.
I was to say, do you say that?
Nope. No, I start saying that, and then I stop myself just
And Alpheus says, "Helena, always a pleasure. These are some newly awakened. Like, brand new. Like, just barely. So, I thought I'd just come down and, give them a little tour, give them the old razzle-dazzle about how things work,
We have learned, we have had neither razzle nor dazzle.
at saying. I was gonna say, at any time, if your characters are saying these things, just let me know. Otherwise, I'm assuming this is my players making snide remarks about their situation.
I will say that I intended it to be said aloud. Like, I was like, we've had neither razzle nor dazzle.
At this, the woman referred to as Helena goes, "Really? Not yet, huh?" And you can tell Alpheus is like, "Great." And she goes, "Well, have a seat."
We're already sitting.
And she will pull a chair and sit down, and she crosses her legs, and she pulls out a cigarette.
I'm not a... Please no.
Is it the same brand?
No. And she puts it in her mouth, and it glows green at the tip.
That's new.
There's no smoke. She takes it out. So, newly awakened, huh? And right in my backyard. Who would have thought? So what are your names?
Jericho.
So as you start to answer, you see Alpheus. For the first time, you see him serious. He's like... But then when you say Jericho, he's like...
I think that's your code name now.
Like,
I'm not an idiot.
Susan. I'm Susan.
No.
No! I like that. And so now that she's sitting here with you guys, you can see she has perfectly manicured fingernails. And it's like she's wearing... I want you to each imagine whatever you would find the most attractive perfume to be.
How old is this person?
Mid-20s? But whatever you imagine is the most attractive perfume symbol, that is what you smell. Her makeup is immaculately done. She has a little smoky eye, dark, straightened hair. She says, "So, what brought you to my neck of the woods?"
We live here?
Really? Where?
Nope. No ma'am, respectfully.
Smart. You'll last long. So, how did Alpheus find you?
We don't know how he did that either.
That's actually very true.
Interesting.
Magic.
I assume.
Well,
So is Helena your real name?
of course not.
Well, that sounds better as a code name.
Well, now that you're here, I suppose I'll leave the choice up to you. I'm sure Alpheus would love to give you his little presentation he does. Or if you'd rather get a better idea of how the world is and what your lives are going to be like, I'd be happy to give that to you.
With all due respect, you just barred us in this room.
Well, I just had 5 strange people start working magic in my backyard.
Lady, you talk, look, and act a whole lot like a Karen.
I moved my seat a little bit away.
Ember's gonna.
If you're trying to be charismatic, it's maybe everybody else, but
Jericho.
I'm more interested in his rendition.
Thank Jericho.
It's a shame. Oh well, maybe you'll come
At
around.
this point, if somebody's gonna stab me in my sleep, somebody's gonna stab me in my sleep. It could be any number of people.
You have to sleep first.
When Helena looks over to Alpheus and says, "All right, I won't cause any trouble, but let Lorcan know he owes me a favor." And she stands up and saunters out of the room.
Where did you get your...
As she also has striking looks. Very attractive.
I mean, if you want to follow her.
No, she's like the attractive, but like the attractive you should stay away from. I agree. The attractive that I want to follow.
Her level of hotness is not equal to her level of crazy.
On the hot, crazy matrix, she does not fall into the...
That
acceptable
is, whatever
range.
that was not safe.
Oh, but it was tempting. I'm gonna stop.
So after she leaves the room, Alpheus lets out a huge sigh. Oh, that could have gone a lot worse. Okay. Well, now that we can go, I suggest we go before they change their mind.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go to our fourth location.
So he takes you out the door, back to his minivan, and you guys get in and drive off.
While we're like getting in onto my seatbelt, I'm like, I really hope that, interest level she was here, and you're like, boop. So I really hope that there's a reason for this much more trust getting into your car.
Same.
I'm glad that you feel that way about things.
That's a
You did
statement.
seem slightly less sketchy.
Yeah, she's sketchy as fuck. Does she know she's sketchy as fuck?
But in a hot way.
Sure.
There's a lot of people who feel that way. She does, I think. It's sort of her... It'll make more sense once you've had the presentation.
Okay.
Let's go.
This is a PowerPoint issue.
Yeah.
Is anybody where we're going allergic to cats?
No, and we are definitely bringing him with.
Okay, good, because I wasn't gonna.
Oh yeah, no. I'd be upset if you tried to leave it behind.
And fish.
I like
the fish.
So he
Wait, you have a fish?
Yes.
drives you guys. It's like
My
he
little
drives you
lady.
guys for like 20 minutes. He takes you out of town. You're in more of the rural area, kind of similar to the sort of place where Piper lives. And he
We'll get murdered.
pulls up to this small farmhouse. So it's, pulls off the road. It's like a gravel driveway a little ways up. Pulls up in front of this small farmhouse. Puts it in park. Home sweet home. Yeah, at least for now. He gets out of the car and heads on up to the door.
I guess I'll follow
Hello.
cautiously.
I'm like the last one. I'm like, this just was like murder house.
They would.
No, Jamal, you
Carrying
keep
my
saying
cat with
that.
tire iron.
I've seen enough NCIS to
And
know.
then I realized that I actually wasn't paying attention to the drive because I had my
Uh-huh.
head in my phone. I was like, where the hell are we?
Middle of nowhere.
Meanwhile, the ladies are like, okay, 2 miles past 8.
If I need to tell someone we took 2 left turns and then a right turn and then
Drove over some railroad tracks. Yeah. got it.
So as you guys go into the house, so on the outside it looks a little run down, a little shabby, but once you step inside, it's like warm. It's not like gaudy or fancy, but it is very plush. Like it's a nice soft shag carpet. It's well lit. It's warm. And you guys step in, and the first room you step into is like a living room. There's like a couch, a couple chairs, a coffee table, a chalkboard.
I'm immediately relieved because I'm like, okay, he's got to be married. So I'm like, okay.
And Alpheus walks past that room into what sounds like the kitchen, and sort of you hear him, moving stuff around in there, and he hollers out, "Just make yourselves comfortable. I'll have food ready in just a sec."
And I'm going to collapse into one of those armchairs. And if it's a recliner, I'm kicking back.
Set out, either by the chairs or in front of each spot on the couch, is each of your preferred drinks. One for each of you.
I don't trust that.
You hear him, "Don't mind the drinks, I'm just really good at guessing."
Sure you
Unless
are.
you're not.
I usually am.
This was discontinued.
Actually, yeah, if one of your favorite drinks would be something hard to get, he has it somehow.
I'm just like, how does he know Capri Sun mixed with Mountain Dew?
That's a really good guess.
Also, ew.
Hey.
And then he comes out, so he's now has 2 oven mitts on and an apron. And he comes out with a Stouffer's lasagna.
This was the right choice.
And puts it out in the middle of the table, has some plates laid out. He's like, "Okay. Everybody eat up. Everybody comfortable. We feel good."
Lava Stover's lasagna.
Give me a second. And he goes back in and comes out with a can of cat food. And opens it and sets it on the ground for Pixel. He's like, okay.
It's her favorite cat food, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Now that that's been taken care of, make yourselves at home. I'm sure you have lots of questions.
Oh, more than enough.
Would you like to start the presentation now, or would you like to take a nap or something first and do it afterwards?
Honestly, at this point, I don't know if I'm going to sleep unless I actually, well, then you're going to tell me I'm not going to sleep anyway. So I suppose it's not really going to matter. You just tell us which we're doing first.
Just watch the presentation while we eat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get to
Yeah,
the
there you
sleep
go,
part
there
a
you
little
go.
faster.
And then I
like
can
that.
know what my magic powers are. Am I a wizard?
Kind
Is
of.
this the Avengers?
Hold that thought. If we're going to do this now, we have one more guest that I'll need to bring down if someone wants to go get Nate.
Ooh, wait, I also want some water in my cup.
I'm also gonna get some water.
It takes 2 of us.
I shall go use the restroom.
Well,
We will now take a...
Yeah, sorry.
Well, you should have said something.
Okay. So, Nick,
Yo.
Alpheus took you from the beach where you washed up. He took you out to an old farmhouse.
And shot you like
where
the,
this is going.
shot you like the broken horse that
There
you
was some
are.
fast food waiting for you, your favorite kind.
Bad guys.
Whatever your favorite kind is, whatever your favorite order is, he had it waiting for you there.
Okay.
And you've been relaxing. You've gotten to know a little bit. Alpheus says he's going to give you a presentation to sort of explain a lot of the questions you have. And he seems to know more about you than you're comfortable with.
Am I still in my wet clothes?
Nope, there's a change of clothes for you. Whatever would be your preferred clothes to change into. Perfectly dry, perfectly sized.
Coincidence.
Mm-hmm. So you have been sleeping, trying to recover from your ordeal. And Alpheus comes upstairs and wakes you up and brings you downstairs saying it's time for the presentation. As he brings you into the living room, there are 5 other individuals. If each of you would like to explain describe what you look like, give him your name.
Okay. My character's name is Zachary Burns. He sort of looks like a generic lumberjack from TikTok who just splits wood, that sort of vibe. Kind of looks like his hair was very well haircut and trimmed about 3 months ago, but has just let it go since then. Kind of a built individual. So.
My character's name is Ember, and I would add disheveled to all of our descriptions.
Yep.
Yes, at this point. But she's wearing mostly black. Black lipstick, bright purple hair.
Is she goth?
yes.
Corporate goth. Don't shake your head at me. And she looks both concerned and excited at the same time. A little kid who doesn't know that they got the right present for Christmas.
I'm Piper. Like a 30s-ish. I have brown hair. I'm dressed disheveled, but in like a very androgynous, kind of way. Not much makeup, just kind of
What's your name?
Piper.
Piper.
But I'm looking at very suspicious and put out right now.
There is anxiety.
There is anxiety.
I forget, what year is this?
2019.
Right.
Okay.
Pre-pandemic.
So, my character's name is Jamal. He's a very attractive black man with thick-rimmed glasses and hair in neat dreadlocks that come down about here. Really big, really big mouth with very well-kept white teeth. You can tell that hygiene is very important to him. However, right now he is real messy. Like, he's got some nice jeans and a white shirt on that look like he has just been rolled down a hill. That's mostly him.
Kicked back in a recliner, just sort of a generic, sort of everyman kind of early middle-aged guy, and kind of you see what you get.
Yeah, me too.
A little bit on the more muscular side. Looks like he might do a little bit of manual labor, but it's a little bit more to him than that you can tell. He is absolutely exhausted, and his attention does keep kind of drifting down to his phone.
Okay.
But since you wouldn't know his name just coming in the room, you don't get to know it yet.
Nick, you want to describe yourself to everybody else?
Sure. Handsome and pretty and perfect in every way. No, I'm kidding. He's somewhat tall, maybe 5'10", and you can tell by the way he presents himself. I mean, he is probably military. You can just tell by the way he walks and presents himself. He has short hair, kind of like a scruffy beard, because he just recently got out, so he's able to grow one now. And so I'm still working on the full beard, but it's getting there. Very attractive. He's from Portugal originally, and so he speaks Portuguese and English. Parents are migrants, and opened up a gun store while his parents have a kind of like a techie mom pop store, like drones, computers, stuff like that.
Just imagine you walk down the stairs and we know this about you. You look like
We're really good at guessing.
So Alpheus does ask, introduces each of you to everyone, so you do learn that the everyman over here is named Daniel.
Secret's out.
And Alpheus claps his hands together, says, "Okay, I'm sure you all have lots of questions. We'll have time for question and answers in a moment. Let me give you the rundown." And he picks up a piece of chalk. You are all now awakened. It's the term we use. Each of you has had an experience that has shown you that the world is not actually the way you thought it was. Some of you may have had weird dreams, you may have had some weird supernatural experience, but no matter what, you all went through this experience, and at some point you were all drawn to some sort of tower, or a representation of it, where you left your mark. Correct? I didn't get that wrong with anybody?
Right.
None of you are regular people?
I don't really think of it as a tower, but I guess, yeah.
Yeah, like sometimes you have to, like, leave blood, sometimes you sign a book, sometimes you, like, make something and leave it there. It kind of depends.
Did
Okay.
that
I
make
wish I
that
would've
key?
had time.
I don't know, I wasn't there.
Huh. Oh, never mind.
I remember doing something. Yeah.
Mine wasn't the
Okay,
blood one.
so
Go on.
you have all been inducted unknowingly into this very small group of people. Best we guess, there's probably a little over 150 of us around the lake. So, welcome to the club. Also, I'm sorry you're part of the club. Because you have a lot of learning to do now. Any questions so far? About anything I discussed?
So many, but keep going.
Okay. So, quick overview. And he turns around and he draws 5, like, rectangles on the board. He goes, okay, there are 5 watchtowers. Everybody awakens to one of them. Depending on the watchtower you awaken to, controls, like, what type of magic you're good at and sort of how you understand and see magic. So, starting at the top, we have the watchtower of the Lunargent Thorn. This is where people who awaken as Acanthus are. They're good at fate magic, time magic. Magic presents itself as a sort of story or fate or destiny. Secondly, we have the Watchtower of the Iron Gauntlet, where you awaken and they're good at mind and space magic. They understand magic as sort of the different urges and emotions we feel. They deal with demons and the inner workings of the soul. After that, we have the Watchtower of the Golden Key, where the Obramos awaken from. This watchtower is all about, like, machinery and, like, the source code of the universe and calling down angels and gods and that sort of stuff. After that, we have the Watchtower of the Leaden Coin. Now, anybody who awakens from the Watchtower of the Leaden Coin awakens as a necromancer. They're called a Moros. Their watchtower is all about, passing on, leaving things behind. Leaving things behind. They're skilled in death and matter magic. And lastly, we have the Watchtower of the Singing Stone. This is where the shamans or the Thyrsus awaken from, and they learn and see magic as the natural flow of things in the world and learn all about spirits and that sort of stuff. I'll admit I'm a little biased. I myself am an Acanthus, so that's sort of the way I see things, so I don't really understand some of the other watchtowers. Questions?
Are we any of us deaf people?
I don't know. Did any of you awaken to the Leaden Coin Watchtower and see shades of dead people or other things?
I don't know what it. I woke up
I
to.
don't think so.
I
Okay.
think so.
What kind of watchtower were you called to?
It's pretty, I think.
Well, that's very helpful. You want to be a little bit more descriptive?
Go on.
He doesn't remember.
Well, that's unfortunate, huh?
No. There were paths. I lived a lot of lives. A lot of lives.
You are in Acanthus, I bet, then.
Oh,
That sounds similar to what I went through.
really? Did
I
you
had-
have to live like every version of yourself
Well,
that ever could have been?
I didn't live, but I got to see as I went up this crystal stair pathway up to the top.
Huh.
And then at the top, there was like a hammer and chisel. I put my name on it.
I don't remember that.
Okay, anybody else confused about which one of these 5 they fall into?
No.
Did anyone see dead people?
No, man. I'm pretty sure I'd have bounced right out of that one.
Okay, so your watchtower controls the type of magic you're good at, which leads me to having to explain to you magic. So, long time ago, everybody had access to magic. Magic was a thing any human could do. It was wonderful. It was awesome. They built this awesome city that most people call Atlantis, but there's some other names that get thrown around. All really great and cool. They did all sorts of cool stuff. But they got a little too self-important, and they built, and he starts drawing this up, they built this ladder to heaven, right? And some of them climbed this ladder into heaven so that they could be like gods of magic. But then they got jealous about other people, supposedly, doing this, so then they shattered the ladder behind them so nobody could follow them up. In doing so, they created the world as we know it. Small side note. Everything I just said is, by some mages, some awakened, considered the absolute truth. Other people think it's allegory. Other people think it's total bubkiss. It doesn't really matter because that's not the world we live in right now. The world we live in right now is like this, and he draws 2 circles separated by a big space, and then he draws like a little squiggly line through the space. So this bottom one, this is where we live. We call it the fallen world. It's fallen because magic is hard to use here. Normal people don't know about magic. Normal people can't see the way the world really works. Up here is what we call the supernal world. This is the world where magic is. It's the realm of ultimate truth and knowledge and the perfect pattern of everything. This thing in the middle is what we call the abyss. The abyss is why magic is hard to use, because in order to use magic, you have to pull it down, and he draws like pulling it down across this line, from the supernal realm into the fallen world. Everybody with me so far?
Ish.
So we're bottom of the barrel.
Right, we are stuck in the fallen world, but we have all been called to a watchtower, which lives up here in the supernal world. So now we know how to call down the power from on high and use it. Question so far.
Am I a god?
That's an active debate.
No cap.
Cannot become a god.
Also an active debate. So, magic works by pulling the powers in heaven, essentially, or whatever you want to think of it as, this other world that's separated from our world, and pulling it down into our world and using it. It's a little more complicated than that, but that's that'll be your beginner's crash course. So, all of you can now have the ability to do this. But it's a little dangerous because every time you pull that, you'll notice it has to cross this abyss place, right? So the abyss is a place where all the stuff that shouldn't ever exist is. And it really wants to get into our world and make it part of the abyss. So every time you cast spells, create magic, whatever you want to call it, you pull that power through, and sometimes a piece of the abyss sneaks its way in with it.
Does that mean that to do your little, what side is the coin gonna land on, you looked at that and decided, you know what, worth the risk?
Yes. Because the more you understand magic and the more precautions you take about casting, you can eliminate that risk. You just have to be careful with it. So, for example, my ability to guess really well, I didn't cast that right there in front of you. I cast that yesterday in my sanctum. Took a whole bunch of preparation. And it just lasts the whole time.
Okay.
So, you can use magic, and there are ways to use it mostly safely, but it's based on how well you understand what you're doing, what kind of preparations you take, and that you don't overextend yourself and try and do something that you shouldn't.
So next time you want to try and blow something up,
Is that
you should
why I
start 3
passed
days in
out
advance.
after the monster thing?
Wait, what monster
I
thing?
wasn't trying
The monster
to blow
thing?
anything up. I just wanted to see if I could do it.
Yeah, after I
That's safe.
chiseled my name and I went through the door in the back with my friend, and we got attacked by some giant monster. What do you
really
call it? It's
unfair
like
that you had
Kraken and Cthulhu mixed with
Tentacles?
tentacles.
Didn't do it.
Oh.
Have tentacles.
Well, I say like Kraken Cthulhu mix,
We fought something with
hmm.
tentacles.
We did.
and then like I did some magic thing, and then I passed out.
I don't really know exactly what that was about, I'll be honest with you. I would guess that that was a manifestation of the abyss.
Oof.
Yeah, it's nasty stuff.
We look into the abyss.
I turn
Okay.
it into a bunny.
All right. So
Oh,
who
also,
are you?
hang on. Add a dot in the matter arcana and the life arcana. Who am I? My name is Alpheus.
Yes, that doesn't explain who you are.
I'm an awakened, like
Yes.
you.
Are you like leadership? Are you just some guy someone sent to come get us? Is there an organization?
We'll get to that once we get to the chapter on how mage society works, and boy, that'll be a kicker.
How much is gonna cost me?
So,
I don't think I can.
that's
afford
how
this
magic
class.
works. We're now going to have a practical lesson.
Ooh.
I'm going to coach each of you through casting a very, very small piece of magic. Now, some things to know about magic. You can't do it if you do it in front of unawakened people. There's a very good chance that you'll bring some of the abyss into our world. So don't do that.
So
Or
this is a good test to see if any of us are.
How do we know who's awake and who's not?
That's a great question. I'll show you in a minute.
Like code word?
Pin in that.
But before we get to that, code word does bring up a very important piece of things. So, your real name has sympathetic connections to who you are. That is not part of this course. We will not be covering that here. Suffice to say, if another person who can use magic knows your real name, it makes it easier for them to use their magic on you. Hence why none of us use our real names. Every mage picks a shadow name.
You know our real names.
I do, because I wanted you to feel comfortable. I promise I will not use them against you.
So Alpheus is not your real name.
No.
I sure hope not.
So,
It's a bad name.
each of you is going to need to pick your own shadow name that other mages will know you by. There's a small caveat you should know going into with this, though. Shadow names have a very, sometimes fortunate, sometimes unfortunate, depending on how you pick them. They have this tendency to be symbolically important. So, for example, if you name yourself Odin as your shadow name, I hope you're not attached to both of your eyes. Because you will probably wind up losing one of them because you named yourself Odin.
Yeah.
And that tends to go along with it. It can be anything you want, just take into account, if you want to name yourself after some famous figure or piece of mythology, just know that sometimes the universe, takes note of that and, responds accordingly.
So
I wish my character knew how to use Google.
It's okay, we got you. Just let us know.
You don't know how to...
Also,
haven't sound
among
like-
mages, shadow names are often used as a sign of intent, or in the same way that, they're symbolic, some people use them to symbolically describe how they view themselves, or, how they view the way they use magic. So,
But what if we don't know how we use magic?
it's not how you use magic, it's, what you want to accomplish
What
with
if I
it.
don't know what I want to accomplish?
We'll get to that part. So just be thinking about it. You're going to want to have a name that you use among mages so they don't all know your real name, so they can't use that against you.
There's an encyclopedia on a bookshelf somewhere.
Do you want us to help you Google something, Zach?
So,
We can name you Bob.
on to the magic lesson. Who wants to go first? I thought you would. Okay.
Never mind.
No, I want to hear what you have to say, Jericho.
I was just about to say, this is my wife and it's scared me.
I'm just saying, finding out, that I am Spider-Man. I am a superhero. That's
Keith,
cool.
pass this down.
Yes, you know, your mouth, Brayden.
I think they're all.
Yeah, it's one
It's a
packet.
Oh. Take one
I already
down,
have
pass
one,
it
so.
around.
Are we
Oh,
doing
do
a
you have
U?
one yet?
I don't know.
Well, I was
You
going to
shape?
pass down the other
I
side
guess.
now.
Oh, okay. I guess we're not doing a U-shape.
Okay.
And then the next one's yours, because I already got one.
Okay, this is the part where Lance gets to teach you how this magic system in the game works. So,
Fireball.
all of you have a stat. You can assume, roleplay-wise, that this is all being explained to you in context of the world by Alpheus, but
But
So
there's no way that Lance is going to be able to
yeah, no,
formulate
I'm not
what
even
he's
gonna try.
teaching you.
on your also anyone who watches this, I am so sorry, but this is a very important part of the game, so we have to explain it. But it's gonna be a little dry,
This is a
and I'm
5-step
sorry.
packet.
Yeah. So
Maybe we'll think to timestamp where this part ends. In the
that'd be good.
Description.
So to cast magic, the first thing you have to do is imagine what you want the magic to do. There are some caveats with this. All of you have on your character sheets a list of arcana. So magic is divided into 10 subtypes of magic. These are like the different ways that the magic interacts with the world. So imagine it like same power source, different applications, right? Your arcana is a measure of how well your character understands influencing or affecting things that fall under that category. Does anybody have any questions right now as to what the different categories mean? Are any of them confusing to you?
To define, like, Braden kind of gave me
I couldn't remember
he
what the other
thought.
one was.
Yeah, but forces and crime.
So forces is the manipulation of energy.
Okay.
Lightning, motion, electricity, electromagnetism, radioactive stuff, radio waves, all that stuff. Prime is the manipulation of raw fundamental magic. So all 10 of them, they come in 2 pairs. It's one that's called the subtle arcana, one that's called the gross arcana. The subtle arcana is manipulating more like abstract metaphysical things. The gross arcana is like the concrete. So prime is manipulating like the energy of magic. You can like create places where the mana of magic pools together. You can directly manipulate magic itself. Forces is like the mundane equivalent of that being energy. So that's what forces and prime cover. Any other questions?
What does it mean if it says ruling?
We will cover that in a moment.
Okay.
So other than that, everybody feels like they understand pretty well, just like from the description. Like none of you are looking at it and are like, I don't know what death magic would be.
Let's find out.
I guess fate, I'm kind of like...
So fate is probability. So that's what Alpheus has been
Guessing.
using. Yeah, guessing. Fate is also binding people to oaths or like setting certain fates or destinies on them. So basically, like if you curse someone with like you're destined to have this thing happen to you, you may not know exactly when it's going to happen, but like the universe things will converge in such a way as to bring about that thing.
Okay.
But you can think of it as like omens, curses, hexes, probability, luck, that type of thing.
Face bunions.
Face bunions.
Any other questions?
Life is like healing magic-ish.
And manipulating biological
And biological
organisms.
stuff, and spirit is speak with dead sort of stuff, right?
No, so spirit is... So death magic would be speaking with dead people.
Okay.
Spirit magic is manipulating the spirits of the world, so there's a whole, like, reflection of the world that's inhabited by spirits, and they embody certain ideas. So you have, like, spirits of hunger, spirits of winter, spirits of wolves. So, and you can have, like, a wolf spirit, but you can also have, like, the spirit of all wolves. It's dealing with them.
Okay.
Any further questions about Arcana, specifically? So, all of you have 2 ruling Arcana and 1 inferior Arcana. This is because, depending on which watchtower you awoken to, you have a certain knack for 2 types of magic, because they are the most prevalent in the place where you went on your awakening. You also have 1 type that is inferior because it has the least effect on where you were. So for my Acanthus, in Arcadia, which is the realm you went to during your awakening, fate and time are like the 2 most important types of magic. They're all over the place. That's why things play out as a storybook. They follow this narrative. But forces, manipulating energy, is not very prevalent, because in a story, lightning doesn't happen because of the physics of the universe. Lightning happens as part of the story to symbolize something. So you guys have a harder time grasping how that type of magic works. You, as my Obramos, you visited a place that was full of life and energy, so decay, death, and entropy magic, it's not really your thing. You can learn how to use those magic, it's just much harder for you to understand, and so it requires a very good teacher to help you advance further and further in it.
Okay, so we're not locked out.
Yeah, you're not locked
it's
out,
just-
but there is a limit to what you can learn about it on your own. In order to get more than 2 dots in that arcana, you will need to find someone who has it as a ruling arcana, and they will need to teach it to you.
Gotcha.
So it's basically just like, you don't understand. That doesn't fit very well with the way you view magic.
Gotcha.
So that's what you're ruling in inferiors. So the other thing you need to know, and this is not on your character sheets, there are things called practices. So depending on what level you have in an arcana, determines how much you can affect it. As an example, let's say there's a river. With 1 dot in river magic or whatever, you have the ability to sort of like nudge it a little bit. You can sort of push on it a little bit, but you can't totally alter it. So you could like get the water to maybe flow around something in the river. You could not make it flow upstream. As you advance in your knowledge of that, how that magic works, you are able to manipulate it more and more. So like at 3rd level, essentially, you could make water go upstream. You just can't do it at the 1st level. Does that idea make sense to everyone?
Mm-hmm.
I will ultimately be the arbiter of like whether something goes above what you can do at your level of magic. Every time you cast magic, there's a certain amount of arcana you have to have. But just so you all know, at level 1, you know compelling magic, which is the ability to nudge things in a preferred direction. So like, it has to be something that is possible according to the natural rules, and you just sort of nudge it in the right direction. So this is like slightly making something slightly more likely to happen than not. You could cause fire to get a little bit bigger, but you couldn't like make it burn in, like water or something. Like, you also can use spells that use knowing, which is revealing information to you about things that fall under the purview of that arcana. So like fate magic at level 1, you could know if someone has a destiny and learn about that. There's also unveiling spells, which lets you reveal things that are hidden. So like if somebody has a spell, like, I don't know, maybe there's a spell to make you not notice a Nesquik container on the top of a cupboard. That type unveiling magic would allow you to reveal that spell is there if it falls under the right purview. Make sense to everybody? Okay. So some of you do have 2 dots in some things. Not all of you, but some of you do. With 2 dots, you have ruling magic, which grants you further control over things, which would be like, that's the level of like making water flow uphill. And shielding and veiling spells. Basically, level 2 lets you hide stuff in that sphere, and it lets you use that sphere to protect yourself. So like in the last episode, some of you guys shot guns at the guy and they like came to a full stop and dropped down. That's because he was using death magic to protect himself. So it sucked all the energy out of it before it got to him. That's how it works. Which leads us to casting spells. So first thing you need to do when you're going to cast a spell is you will decide what you want your spell to do. Right? Now, understand that especially at the lower levels, limit yourself to like, it'll give you like a bonus of +1 or 2 dice on a roll, or a penalty of +1 or 2 dice to someone. You specifically cannot use magic at these levels to directly attack someone. That is a higher level thing. So like, you could create fire and they could step into it and burn themselves, but you can't like light them on fire directly. Does that make sense to everybody?
Okay.
So, Natalie, since you're being our goat, our guinea pig, that's a goat. I don't know why I thought of
Greatest
a
of all
goat.
time. That's
Yeah. you're going to cast a small minor spell. What is Ember going to have her spell do?
Oh gosh.
I'm trying to think how it.
Please say talk to your cat.
Just pitch to me whatever idea you have, and I'll just tell you if that's more than what you could do.
She wants to like do a tiny explosion.
Okay. That would be, we will call that so that will require 1 dot in forces.
Little tiny five.
Yeah, so I'm not good at that, but she just played D&D and doesn't understand her magic. So all the time she's been going.
Okay, so we can try.
It's not good.
It won't work, I can promise you. So why don't you pick something that you do have some dots in?
Okay.
Now, you could still make it be an explosion. You just have to justify to me, like, but instead I'll use my knowledge of fate magic. You'll have to explain to me, like, how are you using fate magic to create an explosion?
Okay.
You can get to the same place as anybody else, but if you want to use a specific type of magic, you're going to have to explain to me how you're applying that. For example, you could use probability to increase the likelihood that batteries explode.
Yeah, no, so I was
Nah.
like,
But now
if
I'm
there's a
starting to
small,
see if
like if
she's
there's a
mad.
cracker, you know?
Mhm.
Like what if it's the cracker's fate to just explode?
That would work under fate. That's going to require way too high of a level for you to be able to do right now.
It's fair. Okay. But batteries might work.
Yeah, it
battery
takes
is more
less
likely
work to
to-
make it more likely. Yeah, like batteries are more likely to explode than crackers on their own.
Or
so
okay,
it's
is there like a candle?
sure.
Okay, then I want to use fate magic. Like it is fated that this candle is going to be lit in a few minutes, and I'm just going to speed that up.
Okay,
I guess that could be time magic too.
it could be time magic.
I just
Both of
have
those
more
make
points in
Can
fate.
you use a combination?
You can, but it requires that. So, like, if you want to use a combination, you have to have the proper amount of magic in both categories to make it work.
Okay.
And then when we make rolls, we'll just use whichever one of the 2 or the 3 has the highest points for you. But you do have to have the knowledge of it.
Okay.
Okay, so in that case, this is the next thing we're going to learn together. You all have a stat called Gnosis.
Yep.
That is your, like, total overall understanding of magic and how magic works.
Cool.
So,
One that'll be-
to cast a spell, you are going to build a dice pool. It's going to be your Arcana plus your Gnosis. So since you're casting a Fate spell, it's your dots in Fate plus your total dots in Gnosis.
Okay.
Gotcha.
And that's it?
Yeah, for right now. Now, here's where we start to get into the complicated parts. Everybody gets things called reach. As you can see, on the first step is determine your reach, which is your Arcanum level minus the spell's required Arcanum plus 1. Everybody following so far?
Yep.
So, in order to determine how many reaches you get, which we'll cover what those mean in a second. So, let's say the spell you're going to cast requires level 1 of Fate. So take your levels in Fate magic, subtract the required level to cast the spell plus 1 from that. What does that leave you with?
The same, I think? Wait.
So you've got 2.
Yes, I have
It's a
two.
level 1 spell. 1 plus 1 is 2. Now subtract 2 from 2. Okay. So you would get nothing, no reaches. But like if you had 5 dots in Fate, you would get 3 of them.
Okay.
So like everybody with me so far on how that math works? Okay. The reason this matters is because at a base level, every spell you cast is going to only target yourself or something you can touch. It is only going to last for 1 round, and it is going to take an hour to cast. And it can only affect 1 person or thing.
Okay.
Reach lets you modify those things, so you can increase how long it lasts, how long it takes to cast it, how many things it can affect. It gives you the ability to modify that. This is where we're moving over into the third step. Because there's a chart here. It's got penalties listed, it's got durations and stuff, right? Mm-hmm. You can use as many reaches as you would like. However, the reason we had you calculate that at the beginning is because those are free reaches. Any more modifications you make to the spell past the ones that you get for free increases the chance for paradox, which is when you pull some of the abyss into the world with your spell and it does nasty stuff. So you can try and cast a spell that is really powerful even if you're not very good at it. It just makes it very likely that you're going to bring stuff into the world with you. In addition, every time that you modify the spell beyond the base settings, it adds a penalty to the die pool you are going to roll. So, let's say, if you're looking at this chart, let's say you wanted to increase the standard duration to 2 turns. So you want it to affect it for 2 turns instead of 1 turn. Everybody with me so far on how we're getting to that idea? Mm-hmm. That will give you a -2 penalty to the roll. So basically, in each of the columns, duration and target area or size, you can fiddle with things as much as you want. Now, moving things from the standard to the advanced scale also costs you a reach. Everybody with me on that so far? So you pick the things you want. So like if I wanted to cast a spell that lasted for 1 week and targeted 5 people, that would cost me one, 2. So that's 3 reach to have it work for a week, and 1 reach to move to the advanced scale for 5 targets.
I'm not seeing 3 on here. Oh wait, this is penalties. Just kidding.
Everybody with me so far on what I did in the chart there?
I think so.
I'll do it again.
Okay, so I am going to cast a spell. I'm going to cast a spell with an advanced duration. So that's 1 reach. And then I'm going to move all the way down to the 1 week. So that means going from one scene / hour to 1 day to 1 week. Mm-hmm. That modification costs 3 reach. And if you go all the way over to the penalty, a penalty for changing it to 1 week is a -4. But I'm going to leave the target size. All I'm going to do is move it to the advanced scale. I'm not going to move down any further. I'm just moving over. That still costs another modification, but it doesn't increase the die penalty. So I would have to use 4 modifications. I'm just going to call them modifications instead of reach. That just works better. 4 modifications, and my die pool has -4 dice in it. Because the more complicated, the more powerful it is, the harder it is to cast. Everybody following me with that idea so far?
Okay.
Makes sense.
So, having an issue with the reach.
So the reach would be beyond the 0, which is why we were talking about doing 1 week. You're at 4 here. You are 3 past that 0 would be the reach. Am I kind of interpreting that?
Yeah. So basically, every spell starts in the standard column at the first box.
Yeah.
Moving over a column costs you. We'll just call them modifications for now. Moving over to a column costs you a modification, and every time you move down a box costs you a modification. Now, depending on how good you are with your magic, sometimes you'll get some modifications at the start that are called free modifications, because they don't affect a thing that we'll cover in a minute. But they still add a penalty to the die roll.
This might make more sense to play. I'm
Yeah.
I'll hold on to it.
So the basic gist of it is, base spells, not very powerful, don't last very long, not super great. You can modify them to make them better at the cost of losing dice to your die pool. Everybody following that idea so far? That makes sense to everybody? Okay, now we go to the 4th step. You can add things called yantras to your spell. These are preparations you make that add die back to the die pool. Everybody with me so far on that idea? There's a whole different list here of different things you can use, but the basic gist of it is the more you use things that are symbolically connected to the spell you're going to cast or to you as a mage, the easier it is to cast the spell. So, like, if you set up an environment that is designed to, like, symbolically resonate with this type of spell you're going to cast, for instance, you, like, light a bunch of braziers of fire around, and then you're going to summon the fire into a big fireball, that'll give you a +1 bonus die to the die pool. If you take the time to carve out the runes to help guide the spell, that'll give you a bonus. Everybody with me so far on the idea of how these work? Now, you are limited on how many of these you can add on to a spell by how much Gnosis you have. So, take your Gnosis, divide it by 2, round it down, and add 1. That's listed on the top of the 4th page.
So if I have 1 Gnosis at the end of it, I'm just going to have 1 Gnosis.
Right. So you can use 1 Yantra with your spell. If you have higher Gnosis, you can add more together to get even better bonuses. Does that make sense to everyone? That idea of, like, basically you make more preparations, but you're kind of limited in how many preparations you can make based on how much magic you know. Which leads us to the last page, this is the other thing your modifications to spells affect. Every time you make a modification to a spell that goes beyond the free modifications you get from how good you are at magic, it adds paradox dice. This is a roll that I make when you cast the spell. If I succeed on that roll, you have pulled part of the abyss into the world with your magic, and you will either have to keep that abyss locked up inside of you, so it'll deal you some damage and give you a bad condition, or, if you'd prefer, you can let it out into the world, and it won't hurt you, but I get to do fun stuff with it, because you just introduced some of Cthulhu realm out into the world with your magic. That's why your modifications matter, and that's why it's important to know how many of the quote-unquote free ones you get. Because if you exceed those abilities, I get to start adding dice. There are also other things that can add dice to the pool, like if you cast magic in front of non-mages, or if you cast magic in certain places, and I'll tell you before you actually cast the spell, I'll be like, this will add paradox die to the roll. So if you don't do any of those things, if you keep the spell really basic, if you don't exceed those costs, you do not risk pulling the abyss into the world with your spell. It's just if we go over that. Does that idea follow with everybody? Everybody kind of gets the gist of that idea of, like, if you overreach, you're going to potentially cause bad things to happen.
Yes.
It makes sense. I might use it before I actually...
And that's fine. This is super complicated. That's why I said, like, this is going to be the most complicated part, but it's also the coolest because it lets you do anything you want with magic.
That I do like where this is going.
Yeah, now that I've made you look through all that math with me, in our messenger chat, I'm going to send you a link to a website app that does all the calculations for dice for you.
Oh, good.
Bless you.
Marvelous.
Now that I've made you suffer.
Just out of curiosity, is there like a inspiration type thing in this?
No.
Okay.
I want to come up with something, but I don't know how to make that work yet.
Okay.
Copy that.
You get a temporary half a dot.
Also, especially if you use this fancy little website that I just sent out. So here's the other thing. There are 2 types of magic that you can cast. The one I just described, that whole process, is called improvised magic. You are coming up with a spell on the fly. There's also a type of magic called rote magic. These are like specific codified spells that you've learned that have specific things that they can and cannot do. The important thing about that is when you cast a spell like that, you have learned how to cast the spell using a certain skill. You get to add the dots you have in that skill as dice to the pool. And in terms of giving you guys the like free modifications, we pretend as if you had a full 5 dots in that type of magic when you cast it as a rote spell. So, like, rotes are a little more limited because, like, it's very specific what they do and how it works. But they are easier to cast and give you more opportunities to modify things.
I'm thinking of them like cantrips.
Exactly. None of you know any rotes yet because you have to be taught them.
That does make
Which is
sense.
why they're not on your sheet and why we weren't going to go over it. Like, that's why we started with the improvised.
We'll
So-
find someone.
If you guys find yourself using a certain type of spell over and over and over, we can make it into a rote for you. So that you, like, so there are some that other people can teach you and they're in the book, but also we can turn any spell into that. The idea is just, like, you cast it so much, you've, like, really figured out exactly how to get what you want out of it. Okay. Questions about magic.
Go through all that one more time.
See the recording.
Just hit replay.
I feel like this is one of those things that will start making more sense.
Yeah.
as we
It
go.
will.
It will.
And if you're feeling like, wow, this is really overwhelming, this is really confusing, it is. I spent like 3 days this week just reading these rules and trying to parse exactly how they work. It is really complicated. It's cool. It's my favorite part of this game. But it is very complex to understand what it's saying. So,
Yeah.
you're going to cast this spell. You've got your 3 dice.
Yes.
Are you going to modify the spell in any way? Any modifications you add will add paradox dice to the roll.
But I
don't
imagine,
think so,
I
'cause
imagine
I-
our guide would be like, please don't.
No, I don't think so. I think I'm just
Okay.
gonna do-
Then go ahead and roll your dice.
Reroll still count?
Mm-hmm.
That's 1 success.
So I re-roll the.
Yeah.
the
You
10.
yep. Just one.
Okay, so 1.
Okay. You have 1 success, which is all you need. So you draw this power to you, and you... So this is where it gets fun. As you cast this magic, you see the world differently. For a moment. You can see things laid out in front of you. You see the fractal geometry that controls probability and chance and luck. You can literally see the passage of time and see the actions people around you might take into the future. And you reach out to this candle. Now, right now, this candle has an infinite number of possible things that could happen to it going forward. And you reach out with your power and narrow it down to just 1.
Oh.
And in casting the spell, you have guaranteed that in the next 2 minutes, this candle will be lit. Somehow, some way. You don't know, but it will happen. You have narrowed all the possible things that could happen to it down to just 1.
We're all just going to be staring at this candle for 2 minutes now.
As she casts this spell, for all the rest of you, as she casts this spell, you all experience something you've experienced before, actually. As she casts this spell, you get the image of thorns in the periphery of your vision, like vines with thorns slowly wrapping their way around everything that you can see. It's just like out of the corner of your eye. It's not real, but it happens for a brief moment, and then they fade away into mist after she casts the spell. And the thing it reminds you guys of is when the lights flickered and went out, when Black Adam changed your memory.
Okay. Interesting.
So as you cast this spell, Alpheus goes...
That's what you're gonna go with.
Yes.
Yeah, Alpheus is like, awesome, good job. I like it. I like what you did there.
Is the flame there? Is it like a lit?
It hasn't been 2 minutes yet, so no.
Okay.
Do I know that there's a time duration?
Because
Sorry.
I'm like, it's
I
not.
know that it looks like nothing happened, but within 2 minutes.
But you all did experience that weird, like, vines wrapping up around everybody experienced that in the room.
I don't know how, but I do know in 2 minutes that candle's gonna be lit.
I do laugh. I'm like,
And I feel silly saying
I mean, you sound silly too, but realistically, what has the last 24 hours of our life been?
But
So-
did you feel that?
plus it's so
Yes.
delirious.
Yeah.
Like now I've had food.
Yep.
That Mountain Dew's not gonna kick in for a while. I'm just like,
I feel that.
Was that your preferred drink?
So is the candle going to light
Oh, with
itself?
the Capri Sun, right.
Is the candle
What?
going to light itself, or are you going to have one of us do it?
I think
I
we
just
should get a
I
lighter.
know
Yeah.
that I have changed the fate of this candle. It's
gonna be lit within 2 minutes. I feel like it would be cheating if one of you did it.
So you do it yourself.
Maybe that's the fate of it, is that you have one of
I don't
us
know.
light
I
it.
don't know how this works. All I know is that
If there's any moment of silence where we're still watching, like, do you have any garlic
Where
bread?
are you looking? Nate's doing what I was doing earlier, which
That's
is looking
Stouffer's.
up names.
Yep.
I
Dude, it's a
immediately-
hard choice
I
picking a
immediately
name.
had to turn around on one of them because I was just like, da-da-da-da-da, goes blind and oh.
Yep. I want you to know that whole thing about Odin is literally written in the book about shadow names. It's like, but you know, if you name yourself Odin, just don't be attached to both of your eyes, and you're fine.
So that gets into the question of like how directly do we like, because if I'm talking about Jericho as in the word Jericho, that is city of the moon or like a place of fragrance.
you're just gonna smell really nice all the time.
We're
I
gonna
imagine he probably already
take down
does.
this
Here's the fun thing. You don't know what the universe might see as the symbolism there and how it might change things.
So-
Like, I will ask you before I like make it, but like you don't get to control. Just like, you know, don't be like, oh, super cool, I'm gonna name myself Zeus. It's like, okay, so your wife's going to hate you. Like, just know, because you have chosen this.
You might
And-
have to rethink the name Jericho.
And it can also be to your benefit, right? Like, if you named yourself Odin, you might lose an eye. You also will probably gain a lot of knowledge other people don't, because that's the symbolism and mythology that follows it.
I briefly think about naming myself Millionaire.
This is also Lance's note to tell you, if you want to learn cool, if you want to have cool ideas about what different characters that you meet might or might not do, or what they might or might not think or want, try and figure out why I named him what I named him.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that.
This is also why I couldn't just make up the dude's name in the car off the fly, because I'm like, this is not the sort of thing that I can just bullshit a name. I need to do research to make sure that I don't throw something out that isn't what I mean.
Spell Alpheus. There we go.
So, for
Can't
brevity's
list.
sake, we will say that each of you take a turn casting a spell.
Okay.
The important thing here is when each of you casts a spell, there is a different one of those effects every time you cast a spell. And Natalie, if you want to retcon what Embers was, we can, because we're going to go through and figure out what each person's... It's called a nimbus, but I figured you might like the whole wrapping Thornvine thing. But anyway.
No, I like that.
So, again, apologies to anybody watching. This is where I have to pontificate about how the system works. Everybody has a nimbus. The nimbus is the effect that people see. It's like, as you're pulling down this magical power, anyone around you gets a brief glimpse into the supernal realm. And so this is like what glimpse they catch as you cast magic. Most people's is tied to their character and especially to the watchtower. It's called your path that you awaken to. So like a lot of Acanthus have things that effects or sensory things that sort of somehow relate to like luck or probability or that sort of thing.
I can give an example for
Yeah.
Acanthus. I played on Acanthus in another game. But one of his what was it again?
Nimbus?
His nimbus was when he cast magic, somewhere within the vicinity would be the exact time. Just whether it was drawn in graffiti on like a wall, or if it was just like written somewhere, or just randomly the exact time would be put in like analog military time, like a symbol of a watch at the exact same time. Just somewhere around there, it would just create the exact time and date of what, not the date, but just the exact time in which the spell was cast.
So that's the other thing about your nimbus. It leaves some sort of mark. It's usually subtle, but it leaves a mark. Could be something like a bush bleeding. But it leaves some sort of mark, and it's consistent. Yeah, and it's consistent for your characters. So like once you learn what somebody's nimbus is like, again, if you guys
Like
come
a
across another
fingerprint.
bleeding bush, you can be like, this is the same thing that we saw. So
So it's almost like your accidental calling card.
exactly. So each of you now has the opportunity to come up and tell us what does it look like when you're casting the spell. It's some sort of sensory thing. It can be a feeling. It could stir up certain memories in people. They could see something. They could hear something. They could taste something. You have to decide that, and then you need to decide what your calling card, that small signature mark that gets left, is. And the mark does fade eventually, and like as it fades, it gets harder and harder to notice. But in a thing we'll cover after this, you guys have a way of sort of uncovering that, even if it's faded.
Okay.
So we'll start with Braden.
Okay.
What is Zach's Nimbus?
So Zach's Nimbus would be kind of like a gentle swirl, and sort of like a ghostly, like fallen fall leaves would kind of surround him briefly before going to the ground. And where they land, sort of leaves a small imprint of like when people crack open like a fossil and see like an imprint of like a leaf, sort of just like that, just on a surface, like whether it be like a wall, like on the sidewalk, on a coffee table, imprinted onto like a couch.
Any
or something
particular
like that.
type of leaf?
Give me a second to look up leaves real quick, because I have one in mind, but I don't know what it's called.
Ember, do you want to change your Nimbus?
I actually like the idea of like thorny vines.
I don't like thorny vines.
Well, sucks to suck.
I had bad experience with thorny vines. Well, Nick did.
Jeez.
Well, that's unfortunate. Yeah, I kind of like the impression of thorny vines in your mind, but the actual like physical
Mm-hmm.
Is there a Nimbus section?
That's what I was
or-
just looking.
There is. It's on one of the pages. I don't
It's
know.
like
which
a
one.
page.
Okay, thank you.
The physical mark. Like how... Okay, so with bleeding bush as an example. So it's something that's physical. It's not going to be something huge, but like it's going to be there.
Yeah, it is something that can leave an imprint. Now, it could still just be like a feeling, right? It could be like it leaves the feeling of melancholy hanging in the air around it. So like it doesn't necessarily have to be like literally a physical concrete thing, but basically your magic, the touch of your magic leaves small imprints wherever it goes.
Okay. And is it ever like a combination? Like you see something and feel something, or is it just
No,
one
it
or
could
the
be. It
other?
can be whatever you want it to be.
Okay.
It just can't be like massive, like, you know, it causes a blizzard in town. Like, it could cause a small localized bit of snow to fall. You cannot create a blizzard in town. That's... Now, as you get more powerful, your Nimbus gets more potent, and it leaves more and more of a mark. So, like, yeah, if you're, like, a super powerful mage, it changes the actual weather. But where you guys are just starting out, it's little tiny things.
Okay.
But that's to your advantage, because if you had a really big, awesome Nimbus, everybody would notice whenever you used magic, and they'd know it was you.
Okay, come back to me in a minute because I have an idea, but I need to
'Kay.
look at something.
Anybody else ready?
I think I have mine. So when he casts something, there is kind of a glow in the room that kind of radiates around him, forming a halo. And if you were to
Mhm.
look at him casting through your periphery, you would get this impression that he was just eyes. Like his whole self just looked like eyes. It would settle back into him if you look directly at him, though. And the impression that leaves behind is kind of a sense of... There's a word for it in other languages. I don't think we have one. The comfort of a memory that is also colored by the melancholy of loss.
Okay.
Ooh.
Oh.
As well as a very pleasant smell that's like cologne, but it's not Jamal's. Which also smells very nice.
I'm just going to call that in my notes, a sense of bittersweet memories.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, bittersweet memories.
Maybe occasionally that song plays. Not really. Halo. Bittersweet.
Anybody else ready to go?
Almost.
As I was saying, it's okay if you're not. This takes a hot minute. This is like...
So, whenever whenever Daniel casts his, the nimbus is just a short, sharp. It's like the sound of one of the film clapboards clapping shut. Just
That's
like
fun.
That's cool.
and the impression that gets left behind is like a low, thick bank of fog, kind of like stage fog that just lingers a little bit longer than it should.
I like that.
Nice. It's funny. I was trying to think if like, oh, should I just try and create him for him and see how well I can match him? And I was like, I feel like Keith's characters would be like something to do with cinema and film.
Absolutely.
I'd be curious to know what you were gonna make the assignment.
So this is why I didn't keep going down this, because like it was only like Natalie and Keith that I felt like I had a really good idea of what it'd be. The rest of you, I was like, I don't know.
Oak.
Oak. Okay.
Leaves.
Okay, I think I'm ready.
Okay.
So my nimbus is as I'm casting the magic, you get this smell of like gunpowder.
Smell gunpowder.
Yeah. And then the impression left behind is that somewhere, some random place, you'll actually see like soot, like on a wall, on a stone, maybe on a person, I don't know. But it's like in the form of what a tiny explosion might look like.
Okay.
Oh boy.
It's so weird. So.
Well, you say that.
Yeah. So when Piper casts anything, I don't know if I can say it right, but it is. I want to say like a absolute loss of sound. Sound is gone, like the tinnitus sort of thing. So I think it's very much deafened. It's just the loss of sound completely. And then I'm thinking, I just don't know if this one is too hideable or whatever, but like any physical thing would be like a fingerprint that doesn't match.
Okay.
Like anyone's.
An artistic fingerprint.
Just like a fingerprint.
Like if I had touched
Oh,
something, but it's not my fingerprint. It's just it's an untraceable.
Is it the same one every time, or is it just like it's just a random fingerprint that doesn't match every time?
I feel like a random one that doesn't match is too hideable. I feel like
No,
it should.
that's fine. Because like the thing with your signature nimbus is, except for a few people who are like occult detectives, but they're not actually mages, anybody like looking for this and trying to track you down following it is also a mage.
Okay.
So like they don't need to be able to be like, oh, we're gonna run this in the database. They'll just be like, I recognize that.
Gotcha. It would be, yeah, I guess it would be different. Just yeah, it's not like it incriminates anyone. It just
Okay.
doesn't match anybody.
Just a random fingerprint.
Yeah.
How long has the recording been running? We've got
3 hours and 3 minutes.
Okay.
We'll wrap it up here. We have one more thing to cover, and then we'll wrap this episode up.
Felt like we were getting there.
Yeah.
So mine is going to be somewhere in the room, whether it shows up in the form of a painting or like on the wall or in a corner or whatever. There's going to be sort of a whimsical, thorny vines that grow up with black thorns and just some flowers that you can't really tell what they are. But it gives sort of the sense of magic and whimsy. Like you read this out of a child's story when you were a
Okay.
kid.
I like it.
That makes sense.
All right. Okay. So the last thing we'll cover. So after each of you experiences this nimbus, the others of you see that. It's also important to note that unless you specifically look for it, when you're casting a spell, you don't actually notice your nimbus. It's only if somebody's like, oh, there was this weird thing that happened around you, and then you do it again and you're specifically looking for it, you can tell what your nimbus is, but normally you don't notice it because it's just part of who you are.
Mm-hmm.
So after each of you does that, and Alpheus sort of coaches you guys through, using the magic, he says, okay, each of you has seen a nimbus, but you don't have to only see magic when you're casting. You can see into the tapestry at any time by focusing on your mage sight. And I'm going to show you how. So he opens a bag and pulls out a knife and sets it out on the table. And he's like, all right, each of you is going to look at this knife and focus. Try and remember what it was like to be in your awakening. And we'll activate your mage sight. And so, mechanically, mage sight does a couple things for you guys. Anytime there is something supernatural happening in the area, you will know it. You have some sensation that tells your character, like, something magic is happening within my vision or in my periphery. So it doesn't matter if it's mages or other weird supernatural stuff, like, you will get whatever it is. For some people it might be like a certain smell, a tingle, a whatever. You will experience it, and I will tell you, like, your mage sight goes off because you can tell there's something supernatural. Then you can open your mage sight to see deeper into the magic of everywhere around you. As you guys look at this knife, each of you sees it a bit differently. For my people who are acanthus, as you look at the knife, you are able to somehow see the fractal geometry of the universe around this knife, the fate, the happenstance and coincidence that's going to lead it to its ultimate place. And you see that when this knife is needed the most, when it is at its most critical point, this knife is destined to break. For my Obramos, let me jump back for a sec. So when you guys use your mage sight, you are able to sort of see that, like, fractal, like, where things have been in time, the passage of time on them, and what their, like, fate is going to be. You don't know the details of that. You don't know when that's going to happen. You don't know why that's going to happen. You just know that is what's going to happen to it. For my Obramos, as you open up your mage sight, you see that source code, those laws that govern the universe. And you can look at this knife and see that compared to its platonic ideal, compared to the ideal knife, this knife falls short. It is not as strong or as flexible as the ideal platonic idea of a knife, which tells you that this knife is going to break. It is brittle. For my Thyrsus, you are able to see the spirit of this knife, the animistic spirit that represents the concept of this knife. And you can see that this spirit is very sickly and weak. That is how each of your characters sees magic. You will get the same result as anybody else. All of you are able to tell by looking at this knife that this knife is brittle and is going to break. You all have different ways of getting there. That is important because I can't sit and describe exactly what you see each time, so just have this idea that, like, that is the way your character views magic, and I will tell you the outcome because all mages can get to the correct answer. You just go about it in very different ways, and you might get certain bits of information. Mages of certain watchtowers might have been able to see, like, the connections this had to other people and had been able to tell that, like, this knife is weak because somebody made it with the intention of cutting corners. So that it was made with subpar material. Another mage might be able to see, like, the actual molecular makeup and tell that it is molecularly unsound. All these different ways, just so you guys understand that idea of how people are getting to the places they are getting. The last thing that you are able to do with your mage sight is you can focus your mage sight. You pick one arcana that you are skilled in, and you see the entire world and everything around you through the filter of this specific type of magic. This is particularly important when you guys come across mysteries, which in this game specifically mean strange supernatural phenomena or other things that aren't part of the mundane world. As you try and figure out what they are, how they were created, what they do, you can use this specific filter of magic to look at them in the specific ways and gain more information. So, like, if you filter by death magic, you would be able to see the effects of death. You would be able to see if someone had died in this place, or if someone had ghosts following them, or other things. So it's like a very narrow way of looking at the world, but you gain information as it relates to that specific sphere. Does that all make sense to everybody?
Yeah.
Okay. After this is all said and done, Alpheus sits down and he says, okay, we're going to take a half-hour break as I prepare for you presentation number 2, Mage Society and the Politics Therein. And with that, we will end this session.
Hey, time checks.
I hate that we live in a society.
I just wanted to be in the woods.
You're gonna have to learn how to use Google.
And I don't.
You can use